no love? Are you hoes still getting no love? All you can get is a fuck you. Get mad if you want to. Kiss my black ass. Are you hoes still getting no love? All you can get is a fuck you. Get mad if you want to. Kiss my black ass. I understand why you hate me, cause I'm on the radio and on the TV. And your baby mama won't stop calling my phone. Stop calling my phone. A couple prison bids in my past, cause I got caught up in the game. Now it's $750,000 later, at least 10 grand every time I pick up my telephone.
Bitch, I'm doing my thing. Focus on getting my check, and you ain't getting nothing. I'm cool, so please stay out of my face, before I reach down up under my waist, and then I get to dumping on you, bitch.
Are you hoes still getting no love? All you can get is a fuck you. Get mad if you want to. Kiss my black ass. Are you hoes still getting no love? All you can get is a fuck you. Get mad if you want to. Kiss my black ass. Too many years I done paid the price. I ain't got no time for no more drama in my life. Day after day, I'm still grinding hoes. If I ain't grinding for nobody else, I'm grinding for roll. That's why it's diamonds on my hand and swingers on the caravan. I'm an asshole by nature, yes I am. I thought I told y'all deep down south we don't play. Don't get too close, cause nigga I'm gon' spray every one of y'all. Piss me off and I'ma murder every one of y'all. I'm gon' let the top down with my favorite screw tape banging. Rather roll cruise control as the cigarilla blows. Cell phone ringing, traffic light changing. Are you hoes still getting no love? All you can get is a fuck you. Get mad if you want to. Kiss my black ass. Are you hoes still getting no love? All you can get is a fuck you. Get mad if you want to. Kiss my black ass.
You must be crazy. I still don't love you, roaches. Don't excuse my gangster. Fuck you and everybody on my ass. Go ahead, catch your attitude. I'ma do me whether you like it or not. But one thing you gon' have to do is kick rocks when you get the fuck up out of my drive. Ain't no need of calling my phone. You can keep on roaching on your own, thinking I'ma chill, but baby you're wrong. Cause I don't love no bitch. These swingers made out 22 inches of chrome. I got a reputation with money too long. Disrespect me, you get more than the song. So please stay the fuck off my dick.
Are you hoes still getting no love? All you can get is a fuck you. Get mad if you want to. Kiss my black ass. Are you hoes still getting no love? All you can get is a fuck you. Get mad if you want to. Kiss my black ass.
We Japanese still. You getting cooked in front of your family like a Japanese meal. It's Yashuta Hibachi, and none of you niggas can stop me. Yo, we've been going live every day. Every day is a new victim. Every day is a new body. Somebody mama's gonna cry tonight. Somebody's mama gonna cry tonight, man. We have made so many mothers mourn. You understand? We have caused so much yellow tape and red tape to go throughout the community. It's not even funny at this point, man. We have been killing all the ops getting killed, man. And it's simple. It's simple. We have turned the community on its head because the community has, for it since its existence, has relied on racist notions, right? White skin this, black people that, white people that. And we said, no, the DNA doesn't say that. You can be white and be related to black people and vice versa. And these people have lost their mind. And a lot of these people don't want to accept the DNA science because they themselves descend from people that they don't like or have made video series about. Oh, the Europeans are going to be judged. Well, Dodo, you are a European, so I guess you and your children are going to be judged. And yeah, because you come from that ancestral stock of Europeans, because your Y haplogroup is G2A4. I'm talking about the tail twins here. We didn't clap these niggas so many times, push these niggas shit back so many times. It's like it's getting old. I don't even know why you guys involved yourself in this whole ordeal. We were dealing with Gorilla Hebrew. You decided to throw a shot at my brother Rue, and we clapped back. Ain't my fault my aim better. And so Sister E, she took to Berean's channel, tried to interrupt Abu's video presentation, tried to interrupt, tried to be a red herring, and she was in her feels, man. She was in her feelings. So tonight we're going to discuss some things. Before we get too deep into that topic, I want to deal with Pastor Kelly because he's getting involved. So, you know what I'm saying? I just hit the ammunition store. I just stocked up on PowerPoints. You understand? I need some, full metal jackets. I'm trying to knock an elephant down. You hear me? So yeah. So he wants to get involved. So hey, more targets, more bullets. Right? Let me introduce the panel. We got my brother, the savant from the Levant, Avery. Talk to the people, family.
Shalom, shalom. I can't wait to get in on this video tonight. Got a lot to cover. So let's get started.
We got my brother, True Hebrew Rule. Talk to me, family.
Shalom, fam. It's your favorite rabbi's favorite rabbi. Holla at me.
I like that. I like that. YAP. And my brother Sean is trying to chime in. If he comes in, you already know it's either going to be Sean Hannity or Shawn Michaels. So when he gets in, we're going to introduce my brother properly. Hey, they don't call them rounds PowerPoints for no reason. I'm trying to knock an elephant down. I'm telling you. All right, there we go. We got Shawn Michaels in the building. What's cracking?
What's yapping in? Shalom, shalom, family. What's going on? Here to finish, stuffing these bodies in these body bags.
Yeah, the mafia members got to meet by the river, man, and drop a body off every now and then.
I see your boy Berean up in the Bronx.
Yeah?
Yeah, he went live. Was up in the Bronx talking about he looking for somebody.
Who could he be looking for?
I think he was supposed to hook up with Sista E today.
Oh yeah, they're gonna make a candlelight ritual.
I don't know what they up to, but yeah.
What you think about Pastor Kelly? Because apparently he made a video addressing the topic. So let me share my screen. We're gonna deal with that real quick.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the video with Kelly. I was trying to skim through it, but this was starting. But I guess we'll start here. I do know though that in the beginning part, he talks about Joe Biden and COVID and all that type of stuff. So some of it you might be able to skip.
Yeah, I was told to start at the 10-minute marker.
Yeah, I don't think he was aiming at us. He was just making a statement about DNA and how certain people, different segments of the population that we deal with, are trying to tell us that we're not Israel. So, you know.
Well, that sounds like he's dealing with us because it's 8 hours after, yesterday Abu smoked them niggas' boots. Abu torched them, man, and
Well,
destroyed their whole, Ethio Helix argument, Oracle argument.
well, that's who I think he's gunning for.
Exactly. And if you gonna Abu, you gonna get clapped by YAP, brother.
All right, it
You
is
ain't
what it
safe.
is.
You ain't safe, Kelly. And your name Kelly, man. Didn't R. Kelly just lose to the state of Illinois? No, man.
Thing I want to point out, because I touched on it last night, about DNA. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to say this. There's some people that say DNA doesn't matter, and they try to go as far as saying the biblical text never said that DNA, doing your DNA is a sign. And I'm going to tell you, and anyone that have that belief, they are absolutely incorrect, right? Because when you understand the word genetics, when you understand the word Genesis, right? Even though it's a
Wait a
transliteration
minute.
of Barashayat or Bereshit.
Wait a minute. Who's saying DNA doesn't matter? Who's you talking about right here, Sean? Because them niggas want to say DNA don't matter when it doesn't fit them. They'll say, "Oh, DNA." I heard tell them say, "Oh, I don't go by DNA. I go by the curses." Wait a minute. Kelly is saying something different here, brother. He said DNA does matter. Oh,
Could he be
man,
talking about Teo? You think?
it sounds like he clapping at them. Oh, okay. He said his okay. I'm sorry, Kelly. I thought somebody sent this video to me because he wanted smoke or something. Okay, all right. I stand corrected. You know what I'm saying? Let me put my gun back in the holster, man. I was about to clap.
Hold on, I stepped away for a minute. What happened? Kelly reached out to us?
No, Kelly said people that say DNA don't matter. That
Oh,
statement is
okay.
absolutely incorrect. I'm like, oh, okay, Kelly.
All right,
All
all
right,
right.
man. All right, okay, I can dig it. Hey, Sean, I said I had to put my pistol back in the holster, man.
I definitely heard that. I heard you get ready, click clack.
Means beginning, right? Also head, protocol, because the Hebrew letter Rashayat, which is Resh, Reshi, or excuse me, Ra'ash or Resh, right? Those are the letters that means head, protocol, and that's where Rashayat or Rashi or Rashayat comes from, that particular letter, the Ra'ash or Resh, and that letter means head, protocol, right? But anyway, Genesis, genetics, comes from the primitive root word gene. There's a reason why you see the name of Genesis, of the book, the first book of the Bible, is titled Gene. Or should I say Genesis, right? Because when you see through all out the book of Genesis, you see the point of emphasis is placed on beget. Who beget who? We see the genealogy of Adam. We see the word genealogy there, the transliteration. Who beget who? Well, the word genealogy, the word.
Damn, he's smoking Teo then right now. He probably don't know this. You smoking Teo because Teo's haplogroup G. You're smoking these brothers with European haplogroups because they keep claiming that they go back to Jacob. They say they go back to Jacob, but wait a minute, how so? When we can see that it's based off of a paternal lineage, and the paternal lineages that we see in the Bible are variegated, right? So you got G, you got R, like. It's highly unlikely that you go back into Jacob's lineage if Jacob's a real man that existed and walked the earth and had a Y chromosome and passed that copy of his Y chromosome to his 12 sons, and then they passed it down. Obviously, he understands this concept. So if Kelly understands this concept, what the hell? Why you retarded motherfuckers can't get it, right? You guys are idiots, man. Kelly got it. He said, listen, it deals with genetics. It deals with this. Maybe he doesn't understand the concepts of haplogroups, because a haplogroup is a group of individuals that share a common male ancestor if it's paternal Y DNA, and a female ancestor if it's mitochondrial DNA. Autosomal DNA shows you admixture within a period of 300 years. 300, 500 is the cap, but that's mainly rare, right? Once you understand how these tests are applied and how DNA is applied to, legacy and lineage, then okay, Jacob's haplogroup becomes extremely important when you yourself is claiming to be a descendant of Jacob. We all can't be descendants of Jacob. if we have different haplogroups. If I'm haplogroup E and this person haplogroup T and the third person haplogroup J, and we're all saying that we're lineal descendants of Jacob, one of us have to be wrong, or only one of us can be correct. We can't say he had all three haplogroups. That's impossible. Because each haplogroup is a set of males that share a common paternal ancestor. And we've been driving this point home for 1 to 2 years on YouTube. We've been dropping source material after source material, reinforcing this fact. Right? If the Teotw twins have sons, all they got to do is say, let me go get my son tested. I guarantee if he's your real biological son, now you might find out something you don't want to find out, right? But if he's actually your biological son that came from your loins, your sperm impregnated that woman, right? Fertilized that egg, then that child should carry the same Y chromosome as you. It's just that fucking simple. I don't know how many times we have to repeat this. I don't know how many times we have to recapitulate that fact for you guys to get it. So let me
Man,
continue.
Teotw have people run around here thinking like you have a, like, let's say haplogroup G2A4, and you have a son, he gets a DNA test and he has E1B1A. He's gonna have people out here thinking that their own kids can have a completely different haplogroup as them, and they're gonna be running around thinking that that's their actual kid when it's somebody else, some other man's kid.
Yeah, dealing with that pseudoscience, man.
They'll come to us being like, no, Teo's right. I have haplogroup, let's say D, and my kid has haplogroup L. So Teo's right. I'm like, bro, your woman done got with
Your woman been creeping on the down low. And I creep. Yeah, creeping on the down low. That's what she been doing, man. And then she brought another man's seed in the household. If your child has a different Y chromosome than you, that is another man's child. Right?
But according to Teo, that would be your kid.
No, Teo be like, what's the autosomal say? The autosomal say he 80% sub-Saharan African. That's my child. Dumb. What a moron. You know what I'm saying? Oh man.
No, he said it was a mutation.
Now he gonna say, I know this my child because the spirit bear witness.
Bro.
He gonna say the spirit bear witness. We go by the spirit. We don't go by DNA tests. Yeah, Gorilla Hebrew, y'all was talking about the spirit bear witness aside. Y'all got children. Go test the males in your lineage and see if they got the same Y chromosome. Come on, go ahead and do this experiment. Get 23andMe packages. You know what I'm saying? Family tree DNA. I know they do they did what you call family packages or whatnot. Do that thing, man, and test them. And if they get a different haplogroup than you, that means your girl was singing "So I Creep." Yeah, creeping on the down low. That's what was happening, right? So no, man, your children gonna have your male children are going to have the same chromosomes as you. It doesn't work the way y'all try to make it seem it works. Like a year ago in November when I addressed Teo on Berean's channel and he kept cutting me off. He said that, well, one of Jacob's sons could have had haplogroup R. Okay, if one of Jacob's sons had haplogroup R, his father, Jacob, would have to have haplogroup R as well, because you can only get a Y chromosome through the act of sex, through reproduction. Okay, that's it. So Jacob would have to be R. It's just that simple.
You know how it is, bro. They're trying to confuse people, and it's kind of interesting that they're saying that, haplogroups are confusing and it's theory and people don't really know what haplogroups are. So it's like, so you're saying that the Most High, in my ears, I'm hearing the Most High is the author of confusion, because you saying that he put this DNA in us and we don't know how it works and all this type of stuff. It's like, bro, it's very simple, but you're trying to make it seem like it's difficult to understand. Like it's just random genes within us. They're almost thinking like the early Darwinists when it came to science. Like certain parts of our body just isn't important. But nah, haplogroups are very important. They're a sex determining chromosome. We know for a fact that haplogroups are these things. It's passed down from father to son or mother to daughter. It's not as confusing as what TEOTW is trying to make it seem like. And but I'll save the rest of my comments for when we get to their actual video.
We got Sister Shari, and I hope she got that bulletin board with her because I want the dean to go in tonight. What's going on, Shari?
Yeah.
YAP. So
Yeah.
Yeah, man. A lot of you guys, are you gonna, if you find out that your son has a different Y chromosome than you, are you gonna go say, go sit down and look in the mirror and say, you know what, the spirit bear witness that that's my son.
If I have a kid and
We
he
don't go
ends
by
up with
DNA,
R,
we go by the spirit. You understand? The Most High told me that that's my son, right? And you know the woman ain't gonna tell you shit. She gonna go along with it. Yeah, you're right, Ak. That the spirit, she gonna become the Virgin Mary all over again. The spirit came down and shrouded me.
I want to know what spirit told you that.
the spirit of
Spirit.
TEOTW
It's called the
Ministries.
mailman. The mailman. The mailman was in there knocking boots, man. That's what was going on. So y'all need to do that little experiment to prove whether or not why DNA analysis can be trusted or not. Get your son, because I know y'all got kids, man. Y'all got a lot of kids. Some of these camp members, man, got a lot of kids by different women. So go take these tests, bro. All right, let me go back into this video because I can go 3 hours on that alone.
For genetics, the word Genesis comes from the primitive root word gene, right? You can get the word generic. Gene, the Proto-Indo-European word gene means beget. So that's
Speaking
the whole
of Proto-Indo-European,
that's the whole message for the book of Genesis. So when you see
Shout out to
such and such
Teotw.
beget such and such, you're dealing with genealogy, you're dealing with genetics, you're dealing with genes, bloodline. So anyone that says genetics doesn't matter, guess what? You just completely did away with the book of Genesis, the book of Chronicles, and other places where you see such and such begat such and such. You're doing away with Matthew, Luke, that lists the genealogy of the Messiah. You're doing away with that. You're actually doing the carrying out the playbook of those that stole our identity. Genetics matter. The whole purpose of DNA is to establish who begat who. That's the whole basis of child support using the DNA, because to prove that such and such begat such and such. So you
wait. You mean tell me Kelly gets it?
Kelly and Benai Ben Israel teach DNA. That's why I don't get it. Why they run with, or maybe Teo's the one who's running with them instead. Maybe Teo probably don't even like them.
Damn, I thought they was all partners, man. I thought they were road dogs. But he said the whole point of DNA shows you who begat who. Exactly. Ding, 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 ding. This man deserves a prize.
At this point, we have to ask this question. Does Teo actually understand DNA, and is he blatantly just lying to the people, which we already know he's a liar, or does he actually just not know it? He just simply can't get it. Either way, both is really bad, because if option number one is true and he does know DNA, then he's a liar. But if option number two is true and he doesn't know DNA, then what is he doing talking to the people about it?
Yeah, he needs to shut his mouth.
You're being taught by a moron.
A pastor understands DNA who doesn't even, bro, come on.
Kelly came in there. It's simple. DNA shows who begat who. It's very, very simple. Let me let this play. Let me pull a phylogenetic tree up just to exemplify this.
You can't say here trying to use scriptures and say, hey, you know what? The scripture doesn't talk about using genetics as a sign. Yes, your bloodline is a sign, proof, evidence of who you are. Your genealogies is a sign, proof, evidence of who you are. So when you do,
that boy cooking a hibachi meal. This boy is cooking, man. I'm gonna have to start calling Kelly Osaka or something, man. Osaka Steakhouse. This brother is cooking. Come on, man. Y'all Negroes talking about,
Yeah, I
and,
can't
and
lie.
then you
He's doing
got
good.
Gorilla Hebrew. You got Gorilla Hebrew talking about some, oh, well, in the book of Titus, it said not to regard genealogies. Then why are you teaching a 12 tribe chart then? Why are you claiming a lineal descent from Levi? Why are you telling everybody that you're a priest? Why are you telling everybody you come from the Kohen? Why are you doing all these things? If genealogy does not matter, then why are you trying to trace particular people groups back to Israelites? That's genealogy.
Now I kind of see why when people leave the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, when they find out that their Y marker isn't E1B1A or something, I see why they become Christians afterward. I see now. Genealogy doesn't matter in Christianity.
Yeah, I mean, y'all,
It's the spirit.
look, y'all saying the same things. They say, well, don't trace your genealogy. Y'all saying, now y'all saying it go by the spirit. That's spiritual Israel. Okay. And a lot of you guys are you guys run with replacement theology, right? You guys want to replace other people that actually have lineal ties to ancient Levantine populations. You want to tell them they fake, they're false, they're perpetrating a fraud, right? And you're saying no, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are Israelites. All the Negroes on the planet are Israelites. All the slave descendants are Israelites. Which none of those things can be proven with empirical evidence. So there's different lineages that got on those slave ships. You had people with R1B VA8 get on those slave ships. You had people with haplogroup A get on those slave ships. You had people that have haplogroup B with pygmy related ancestry that got on those slave ships. Then you got people that were Bantu related that got on those slave ships. Everybody that got on the slave ships are not the same paternally. Therefore, they all cannot go back to a man named Jacob that lived in the Bronze Age. This is simple.
You know what the issue is, Yeshua? The issue is people like Teotw doesn't understand history and the history of Israel. They claim that every person on the slave ships was an Israelite, and Israel was the only one enslaved during the transatlantic slave trade. But if you just look at the history of Israel, and if he understood history, he should know and he would know that the Israelites were, when they were in bondage, other ethnic groups were always in bondage with them. For instance, during the Exodus, let's start all the way back with the Exodus. You had Nubians and other Asiatics as slaves during the Exodus. When it came to the Assyrian captivity, the Assyrians had conquered other surrounding peoples, such as the Arameans and other groups in Mesopotamia. So Israelites weren't the only slaves or people in captivity in Assyria. When it came to the Babylonians, the Persians, they also had slaves within their empire. And don't even get me started with the Greeks and the Romans. The Romans enslaved Nubians, they enslaved Amazigh or Berbers, they enslaved the Gauls and the Celts. The Romans were notorious for having slaves in their empire, so it wasn't just Israelites that were slaves. And then when it comes to the trans-Saharan and the transatlantic slave trade, it wasn't just Bantu people that were enslaved. You had all other types of groups as well, even like Europeans, such as Slavics and Balkan peoples in Greece, and even the British Isles. You had a lot of slaves during that time, with the Ottomans enslaving white people. So this whole idea of Israel being the only people enslaved in history, or when they were slaves, there was no other ethnic groups with them. That's just a lie if you just look at plain history.
So I have a theory. So if this is true, that all of these other nations went into captivity, and we went along, whenever we went into captivity, other nations went into captivity too. Is it very possible that the Most High knew that because he's all knowing, possible that he knew that in the future there was going to be a slave trade, regardless to if his people was in it or not. He just chose to put them in it because of their because they didn't listen to they didn't pay him, they didn't hearken to his word. Is that possible? Because if in history all these other captivities, there were other nations in uh in these captivities, isn't it possible that the Most High already knew that all these captivities was going to happen with other nations? He just decided to throw us in there because we didn't pay attention to what we were supposed to do.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah. Because when these empires are going around enslaving peoples, they would have had to go through Israel, because Israel is in like the Goldilocks zone of the world. It's in between Asia, Africa, and Europe. So yeah, each empire had to go straight through Israel to when they were conquering other peoples. Yep.
Hey, we
Oh, that's
got a
if you
brother.
place Israel in the Levant, unlike Teotw, who places it
Oh
in
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. They
Ethiopia.
also telling their followers that Israel is in Africa somewhere. Like, you guys are pseudo as hell. And Sister E, you got on camera, I stand by them. They don't lie.
Stand
Tell
by
them to prove
liars.
that Israel is in East Africa. Some damn way.
Oh, can I share my screen?
Hold on real quick. I'm gonna let you share it right after this, because we rambling, and we got our brother Big Bro Moore, Big Stepper Moore in the building. What's going on, brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
yapping in.
Yeah, what's happening, fam? Japanese meals for everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Man, y'all gonna get me fat.
I didn't even know Kelly had a Japanese recipe book, man.
Yo, I was shocked. I was like, he came in like Japanese chefing right quick. Okay, that's what's up. Straight Japanese chefing all the way. That's what's up. I can't even be mad at that. But real quick, I want to hand it over to Sherry. But before I do, I want to say this, that there's a false premise being posed that people need to understand with this whole thing, right? So first and foremost, YAP does not oppose autosomal DNA or the concept of autosomal DNA.
Thank you. Thank you. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. So we don't oppose the concept of autosomal DNA. We specify the fact that autosomal DNA has its place. Like, you can use it for certain things. It's very useful in finding populations that you connect to, right? In short-term distances and whatnot, right? It's like, so near-term, past few hundred years, whatever, different populations you connect to, right? However, if I want to find out what tribe was my father's 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 father, what tribe was my mother's 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 mother, I'm going to weed through all that autosomal DNA, and I'm going to have to get something real specific, right? So if I want to get real particular, that's what haplogroups are really good for, right? When I want to talk about particular lineal descent, paternal or maternal and whatnot, right? The concept that we reject autosomal DNA is ridiculous. What we're saying is autosomal DNA is not a useful tool in determining ancient ancestry. If you want to determine ancient ancestry, haplogroups are going to be more effective for that, right? On top of that, there's a false premise that your haplogroup should reaffirm your autosomal DNA. Where has that ever been established in science anywhere, that your haplogroup should reaffirm your autosomal DNA? So again, we saw the other day that Sean, right, like me, has a Native American maternal haplogroup, right? But he's only 6% Native American. You don't need a large percentage of DNA to determine your haplogroup, right? That's ridiculous. However, if you're saying that, and again, this is where I do agree to where like a haplogroup should reaffirm autosomal in a certain sense, right? So if you're trying to claim specific lineal descent from people that you autosomally connect to, then your haplogroup should definitely reaffirm that. But if you're talking about you come from Ethiopic, Central and West African type peoples and whatnot, from the OG people of Israel and whatnot, but your haplogroups have nothing to do with that area, fam, there's an issue with that when you talk about ancient ancestry, right? And so that's an unfortunate truth for some people, right? But what's becoming more unfortunate is it's becoming obvious that there's information being hidden from the people. So, for instance, we saw almost 3.5 hours last night of a show of Teotw and them not showing their maternal ancestry and not showing their autosomal DNA after demanding autosomal DNA from the YAP gang. Everybody showed their DNA. Everybody showed their mitochondria. Everybody showed their Y DNA that had it. And what's becoming obvious is if they're not showing it, the reverse claims are being true are true. So y'all have European mitochondrial DNA until you show otherwise. Until you show otherwise, man. And what's crazy about it is why are certain people trying to block like fullbacks right now when In 2020, 2019, etc., when Tay was coming on their channels or whatnot, when Tay was coming on Sister E's channel when they first started coming out talking about the DNA and whatnot, they were hiding the information then. Those pictures I got about Jed Match and them not having the full 20 list and them showing just 19, they introduced that on Sister E's channel, right? On their own channel, but I'm saying like that was introduced on her channel as well. Nothing was corrected ever. When they're only showing, Sister E showed her autosomal DNA from 23, full European and African. Both. They didn't show it. That's back then.
What's her maternal? Is she L?
Yeah, she's L2.
Oh, okay, that's what's up.
If I recall, she told me she's L2 in the phone call. But yeah, like so she's manning up more than they are showing what her European is. But they won't do the same and gonna demand that people do so in a purity test about who's European and who's not. And the reality check is this, fam, and everyone knows why you're not showing your DNA now, because it's obvious. Your 23andMe says that 26% you're not showing is a large portion French German and a large portion Ashkenazi that reaffirms your haplogroup like you're talking about.
Exactly.
With that, I yield the floor.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy about what you said more also, the first part with explaining to the audience, reaffirming again what DNA is. Our audience already knows about haplogroups. Like we've been saying this over and over again. Everybody seems to get it, even Kelly, but they don't get it. It's on purpose.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to my sister, Shari. But first, I want to say 40. I want to answer Black Line Supreme said 49ers. Is it true that the 20th generation your Y chromosome changes because of mutation? Your mutation can change within one generation. It can boom change, but that doesn't change your Y chromosome. It doesn't change your haplogroup.
Better to break that down because they're gonna clip that part.
Right. So I've broken this down before. So let's say that you're EU290 like I am. You have a child. That child can develop a mutation, but it has to be downstream. You do have rare back mutations, but again, the key word's rare. So whatever mutation comes after U290, that child can produce. It can change within one generation, right? It can be spontaneous or it can slowly mutate into something else. Or it can just remain the same for hundreds of years or thousands of years. That's how you get certain people that retain old haplogroups like EM180, EM96. Those are old haplogroups, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to change 20 generations, 10 generations, or what have you.
Yeah, I got all. I'm EM33.
Right. Which is what 70, 60. How old is that?
It's like 56 to 70,000 years.
Yeah. So
More
hopefully
comes
that
from a
answers your
lineage
question.
of survivors.
Yeah. So it's definitely variable. But what will not happen is your son in 20 or your progeny, rather, Black Line Supreme, will not change from E to R like these Negroes are trying to tell people. That won't happen. It would have to be a descendant of the E family.
Nor will they develop a mutation that makes it to where they're 34% E, 4% G, 7% R. No, that's not how it works.
We're going to explain it today. Somebody pull up My True Ancestry. We're going to go there and we're going to read from that. If somebody can do that for me, please.
By the way, are we going to also address their video that they did on us, or?
We can. But my sister Shari, she's been sitting on this fire for a minute, so I'm gonna hand it over to her.
Let the ding get it in. You know what I'm saying?
Black Line Supreme, yes, you do. You have the Y chromosome of your ancestor 20 generations ago. That's a fact.
All right, I just want to show a quick meme. I just want to show a quick meme of Sister E and how she looked when she believed Teotw. This is what I wanted to show her. Y'all was talking about her just believing what they say just because she know them. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm trying to fix my headset, so I'm not going to be able to throw that fire. But what I can do is
Got them
this right
clips.
here. I'll share this. So they want to keep playing games or whatever. We just gonna keep clowning them, keep joking them. I'm gonna fix my Bluetooth. I'm gonna fix my headset, and then go through this long little list that I made for them.
Yeah. I want the people to hear this because Shari got some heat rock for y'all, man.
88%.
Y'all that woke up a sleeping monster, man. I'm telling you.
88% sub-Saharan African white girl. I thought I heard everything, but I guess not.
Who has my true ancestry up? Who doesn't mind sharing it real quick? I want to show you guys something while we wait on Shari. There ain't nobody. No volunteers.
No,
I'm actually
Hold
pulling
on,
up.
I got theirs
Yeah,
right.
I'm pulling
I'm
up my
gonna try to
Facebook.
pull mine up.
Gotcha.
Too. Hold on.
All right, so let me do this.
That's the twins right there.
All right, boom. So more got his up, right?
No, that's the twins. That ain't mine. That's the twins.
Oh, that's the twins. So the twins would show this and say, "Hey, we got all type of haplogroups. We got E1B, we got R1A, Q, J, G, we got E2, R." They say they have all these haplogroups. That's what they're telling you that this website is showing you, man. And that's far from the truth.
Well, they had did a video. They had did a video, a review on one of Benaya's video, and they used this, and they were saying, yeah, they basically said exactly what you said.
Yeah. So now they're teaching people have multiple haplogroups. No, you only have one haplogroup. Well, you
They're
have one for
teaching
your
you that you have
paternal,
multiple
one for
men
your maternal.
inside you.
Yeah. Basically, they're teaching some homoerotic stuff. You got multiple men inside of you. No, so y'all see that little I button up there? Can y'all see that little I button? That I button, if you click that I button, it will explain to you what is being displayed here, right? Let me log into mine, man. So nobody else don't want to do it for me. Let me see. Give me a minute, y'all. So we're gonna read this, what it says when you click that little I button, right? And explain this to people because a lot of people, and I'm going to make a separate video just dealing with my true ancestry, some of these claims that's been made off my true ancestry, and take my time to break this down because y'all have been lying. I want to say misinforming, but I think you're just lying at this point because you guys are very dubious, right?
My bad. I was pulling mine up, Yeshua. That's why I didn't. Just give me a second. I'm pulling mine up as well.
Yeah. So, hold on. So with that being stated, let me do this real quick. Let's talk about what this page says, and then Shari, just let me know when you're ready.
I'll be good after you get done.
All right. And I'm gonna cover this. And Eva, you said you wanted to deal with the video that was made, I guess, on Sister E's channel,
100%.
because I think Shari got a
Yes,
lot of
definitely.
bullet points on that. So I really wanted her to go through her bullet points first, you know.
Yeah, she can do that. Yeah. I just really want to
Eva,
address some of the things that they said because they got a lot wrong.
any thoughts on
Yeah,
my
what's
true ancestry, their breakdown that you want to share with the people?
Going off memory of what they said, and kind of repeating some of the points that you said. My true ancestry is not saying you have multiple haplogroups in your lineage, and just using simple logic should be able to tell you this. If you take 23andMe, it only gives you one haplogroup. If you take Family Tree DNA, it only gives you one haplogroup. If you take CRI genetics, it only gives you one haplogroup. If you take DNA Genix, it only gives you one haplogroup. All DNA tests that you take only give you one haplogroup. They don't give you multiple different haplogroups. They're only using this one section in My True Ancestry to make a very dumb claim that absolutely makes no sense when you look at the broader scope of genetic tests that you can take. So yeah, that autosomal is, well, you got it pulled up, so I'll let you go.
Yeah. So this is My True Ancestry. I'm logged in. As you guys can see, I am in enlightenment level 8. So I have a lot of samples to compare myself to, right? So let's go to haplogroup analytics. It gives you the royal ties globe. Well, we don't care about that right now. We want to go to Y-DNA breakdown because they've been using this and misappropriating this tool to say that, hey, we can have multiple haplogroups. Look at this. You see that 33% E1B1 haplogroup? To them, that means that I'm 33% haplogroup E. Get your goofy. No. How to interpret this properly? It means 33% of the samples have some segments, or we share some segments of autosomal DNA. That's how you properly interpret this. 29.8% of R1A of the samples that are R1A share some segments of DNA with me. R1B, same thing down the line. So when we go down, Y-DNA distribution, what does it say right here? All you got to do is read, man. A lot of you guys are getting fooled and bamboozled by this cult. If you took 5 minutes to sit down and read this stuff, you wouldn't be fooled. Watch this. This is a Y-DNA distribution of all the samples which match this kit. Never did this website ever claim that everything you're seeing on the screen represents how many haplogroups you have. No. These are the Y-DNA of the samples they compare to your kit. Now, when you click Y-DNA distribution, what does it say? Haplogroup analytics. A female inherits an mtDNA haplogroup from their mother, whereas a male inherits both the mtDNA haplogroup and a Y chromosome haplogroup. Depending on the quality of each ancient sample, we can determine one or both. A mtDNA haplogroup specifies the all-female lineage of any sample, whereas the Y-DNA haplogroup determines the all-male lineage. This is how we know that the Teotw twins are European. They have a European haplogroup. Therefore, they share paternal ancestors with every other European or every other person that lives in the Caucasus that has haplogroup G. This is a simple heredity science. It says, for all the ancient samples we have which match your kit, we have collected the mtDNA and Y-DNA haplogroups and combined them into a chart. So if y'all would have took out the time and read what it said on the website, you would be going around telling people that, oh, I'm 30% E, I'm 12% R. You guys are taking advantage of the illiteracy of the Black Hebrew Israelites and the community, man. Let me continue reading this. This chart is a personalized estimation of your haplogroup ancestry. For example, your ancient ancestors collectively may have the haplogroups distributed as shown. The highlighted number is a percentage of the total haplogroup set. The haplogroups could be those of your distant cousins, which are not necessarily aligned with the all-male female lineages of your own haplogroups. That's what this says. You guys are morons. But you got Sister E on there. I don't see anything wrong with what they're teaching. That's why we call you a cult. You don't question shit. You think everything they say is right and exact. And you're going to stand by it like you said in your live last night. Go ahead. Go ahead, Avery.
And when you do question people, you silence them. Like they did me 3 years ago when they deleted my comments when I pointed out that fake DNA map. And like they silenced y'all not too long ago when you tried to message in their video, the Three Stooges, they deleted y'all's comments. Sean, you, Yeshub, and James Cassell. So they silence you if you try to question them, which is kind of weird because as a leader, you should allow people to question you and ask. It's kind of weird that you just basically act like a tyrant, or like you said, a cult.
Yeah, it's a cult-like mentality. So as you guys can see, they have been misappropriating my true ancestry. Then another thing they will do is they will go to the haplogroup globe, right? You click this tab. They'll go here. And then they will go and point at every dot. Well, they will pick a time or whatever, and they will point at every dot and say, what's my ancestor doing in Iberia? What is he doing in East Africa? What is he doing in Arabia? What am I doing in Italy? This does not mean your direct ancestors came from Anatolia or anything like that. It's just telling you that you have some samples that share segments of DNA with you, not necessarily that you descend from these people or directly come from their loins. But you have people believing that.
So real quick, just for clarity, so when you're talking about like segments of DNA, are you talking about autosomal or are you talking about Y mitochondrial? Just so people understand what you're saying. Because from what I understand, most of what this site deals with is autosomal DNA.
It's autosomal DNA, and that's what the Y breakdown is telling you, right?
So it's not telling you directly descend from any of these people.
By the way, you're breaking up your tube unless that's just me.
I think that's just you. But like so it's not saying that you directly descend from any of these people. It's saying that you share autosomal DNA with these people. So there's no way that you could directly descend from all these different groups.
Yes, it's impossible. Look, you got Y-DNA-I here. I don't descend from these people. You have no, they don't know that marker here. Let me find one that they have here. That's U5. I don't descend from that person maternally, right? I don't share the same maternal ancestors as this person. That's U5. I'm L3. Here's some more samples right here. That's mitochondrial T. That's actually the sample Benaniah said was E1B1A actually in Lebanon, Ivry. But we do share some segments of DNA because if you read the paper sheet that this individual had Yoruba autosomal DNA. So at best we could say there were some people there that had Yoruba DNA. They could have been E1B1A. We don't know for sure, but we can hypothesize that. But we can't make the definitive claim, right? So we do share some segments of DNA, and we know that comes from the Yoruba. I relate to the Yoruba autosomally, so therefore, boom, that's why this matches here. Exactly. And it gives you your distance at 42, right? You don't directly descend from these people. Stop listening to these damn clowns. Now, here's the interesting thing. This person in Nubia that's in the Common Era. Oh, this is a different one. So, but there's one person in Nubia, I showed you guys, 850 AD, that actually had G2A. So they share paternal ancestors with that individual, right? And the only way you can determine that is through the haplogroup. Because again, I have to keep reinforcing it and keep saying this. A haplogroup is a group of individuals that shares a common ancestor. If you're dealing with the Y DNA, that means you share a paternal common ancestor. If you're dealing with the mitochondrial DNA, that means you share a maternal common ancestor. These red dots do not reflect your direct ancestors.
Will you go to your ancestry globe? Not the haplogroup, but the ancestry globe.
The ancestry globe. I'm not familiar with that one.
It basically does the same thing, but without the haplogroups. So
you mean Royal Ties globe?
Oh, you're on a different level. My fault. So let me hold on. Let me share theirs right quick, because if you were to show if you were to show your ancestry globe, I don't know if I show mine. I actually have ties in West Africa and whatnot on that thing, right? But right. If you share my screen right quick, this is theirs. They got no hits in West Africa and want to deny all them hits in Northeastern Europe. Like,
wow.
All them hits, fam. As a matter of fact, where's the majority of the ancient hits, fam?
Hey, you know more. That might be why they're trying to say Israel is in East Africa.
and we pick. I have those same hits too over there in Asia and stuff like that. So that makes sense because we mix with people that have R1B and R1A in America. We mix with them. That's why when you take your autosomal test, a lot of you guys will get the English and British and Iberian, the Iberian Peninsula DNA results back. That shows that someone on your maternal line or your paternal line mixed with those peoples somewhere down the line, right? I even got East Asian hits, so maybe I got some East Asian, a small fraction of East Asian in my autosomal makeup that matches with those people over there in Malaysia or whatnot. That's what this is showing you. But the way they interpret it is every red dot on the map is their direct ancestor. Right? So this is the same thing. Ancestral globe is the same thing as the haplogroup globe, brother. And so we broke that down already.
They're the ones. Hold on, real quick. They're the ones that are establishing baseline numbers for things, right? Like, so let's make this clear. So again, so they're saying connection at 34.9% to haplogroup E is enough to say that they're Israel and they're African and all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And all them kind of things. Like if you interpret this map the way that they're talking about it, right? So if 34% like sub-Saharan African, etc., is the baseline, fam, then how are they questioning anybody in YAP? Everybody in YAP's over that concept, over that baseline, and yet also has mitochondrial and or whiting that you can find in Africa. We can't find G2A. Well, okay, we can find G2A, right? But we can't find the G2AB or the G2A4 anywhere in Africa.
Yeah, man. Let me show the people this, man. I'm gonna get out of True Ancestry. I'm gonna show you guys this. Again, all you people that paid for True Ancestry or got the free account or what have you, there's a button here for a reason. Where it says haplogroup globe, there's a button here. Click that button and read what it says. Ancestral globe allows you to visually see all the ancient samples which match your DNA. This includes samples matches shown in red or blue, which match the same genetic signatures as your own DNA, evidencing common ancestral roots. And deep dive matches in yellow, which share actual DNA segments, evidencing direct common ancestry between you and the sample. The number of samples visible depends on your access level. Zeus users levels 5 and above are able to configure the number of samples which appear using sliders. Upgrading your account enables you to unlock information about the samples which are not available to your current access level. So again, what did it say? The same genetic signatures as your own, evidencing common ancestral roots. Again, how do you pick those things up? By admixture. What does it say here? In deep dive matches in yellow, which share actual DNA segments. Watch this. I'm going to show you an example of that, right? Look where my deep dive is. Mainly in East Africa and one with the Shumlaka individual. So if I go up, let me go down, bear with me. This thing is kind of wonky. And I go over and I put my mouse over one of the yellow marks. The empty DNA is L3. That makes sense, right? And I share over 105 SNPs. I'll give you another example. E1B1B, L4B2A, longer shared DNA, 106 SNPs. That makes sense. E1B1B as well, 350 BC. I share 113 SNPs. So I share actual DNA segments with these people, which makes sense if you know about the Bantu. My clade is associated with the Bantu expansion, and we would have went through all sub-Saharan Africa, interbreeding and mixing and spreading, right? And this is an actual E1B1A marker that I share 107 SNPs with, which is 820 AD.
And you got hits in West Africa, right?
Yeah. I connect to the Shumlaka individual, which is haplogroup A, I believe, which we mixed and dealt with them recently, right? B2B, right? A. And then up here, let me go back. Oh, no, that was it. So I got deep connections, deep dive connections here, and then South Africa in there. So, guys, take out the time and actually read this stuff, man. The Zappa says, yeah, the sampled one matches, which doesn't even mean you directly descend from said samples. Rather, there's a common ancestor between you and the sample. Exactly. All right. So, sorry, are you ready? Is my sister Sorry still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think my connection is a little weird, but yeah, I have a few things. I didn't get a chance to finish the video. It's super long, and they was aggravating me. So, I got a few things that I want to touch on, and then y'all can do whatever afterwards. Let me share.
Yeah, we want that bulletin board material.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna share the clip first, and then I'll make my commentary after the clip.
But yeah, to reinforce that true ancestry, don't let them people fool you, man. I'm just gonna leave it there. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, so you can share my screen. I'll play the clip. Ooh, where is that? There it is.
Fair use.
Yes, fair use. This is strictly for educational purposes and a little bit of satire, a little bit of clowning and dragging.
Commentary.
Commentary, lots of commentary. That's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. So let's play.
What's going on, family? Y'all come on in here. These folks here first. QT too. Yep. I kind of figured they was recording it. I had no reason to record the meeting. So ultimately, okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all the backstory. So y'all know Yeshub and all of them have been attacking Teotw, saying that, Teotw are Gentiles and all that, and they're liars, and you know how them folks do. And y'all know me. I'm just gonna be honest. I've been knowing Teotw for a couple of years, and I've been following them for a long time. And one thing I will say about them brothers, they have always been honest with me. I've never had it was never a time where I had to question if Yacoba and them were honest. That has never been a question of mine. Now, is Yacoba going, and they're going to be on in a minute. What's going on, family? Y'all.
All right, so that's the first clip. And I want to hone in on the part where she says, I've never had to question whether Tatum, what truth were with her. It was never a question in her mind. And so this is evidence of the go along, get along game. You don't check your circle, what you should. You should check your friends, and you should question all the information anybody gives you just all the time. Just because you trust somebody, that doesn't mean you take everything they say without reading or following up, yourself. So that's the impression she gave me with that. They're my circle, I'm gonna ride with them, and I'm gonna ride with them. And I also think too, they conflate checking people on information with disowning them as an entire person. You can check somebody when they're giving out misinformation and still love them at the end of the day. I want to play another clip. And feel free to jump in whenever y'all want.
Yeah. Again, this is cult-like behavior. Whatever my pastor says, don't talk about my pastor. My pastor did this. My pastor did that.
I kind of figured they was recording it.
I don't care how good. I don't care how good you think somebody is to you. That doesn't mean they're above reproach or correction. They're wrong about DNA. They're wrong about autosomal DNA. They're wrong about paternal ancestry. They're wrong. They're on video saying that Jacob lived 300 BC. So we're not supposed to say anything or correct them because you like them. Oh,
they're wrong about Israel being in Africa.
But Sister E, when I was getting on Ron Dalton's ass, you was cheering me on, right? I could correct him, right? I can get on his ass when I was getting on Kevin G's ass. correcting him with the same information I'm using to destroy Teotw and debunk and refute them. You had your pom-poms. You were jumping up, down, and dancing and celebrating. Remember, I didn't reach out to you. You reached out
me
to
and
me.
Kevin G about defending the haplogroup of the Limbas and whatnot.
Come on, man.
My fault. Go ahead. I cut your bill. My fault.
No. I'm saying, come on. I'm agreeing with you, bro. Yeah, dive into that, boy. Dive into that real quick, because I'm trying to pull.
No, that's like a 4-hour video to where like we went from Brienne's show to her channel to where Kevin G was talking about like the Limba couldn't be Israelites based upon their haplogroup because they didn't have the extended Cohen modal haplotype, right? So we had a whole debate knocking down the extended Cohen modal haplotype versus Cohen modal haplotypes, etc., and what the difference is between the two, and how Kevin G was messing it all up and whatnot, and why it's even important to understand why it's important to include the Limba in the Cohen modal haplotypes, because when you do, it jumps from like 21 to 32 haplotypes, which would include E1B1A, fam, because they have like 14 different haplotypes amongst the Bubu clan of priests and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But so like, yeah, Sister E was like, she literally hosted a debate on her channel with me and Kevin G, where it's me and Yehukanan, going at Kevin G and defending the Limba, their haplogroup, and why, and also why the extended Cohen modal haplogroup does not, modal haplotype does not exclude them from being Israelites or Jews, etc. And they got Jay. Just like Yeshua was saying on Garfield's channel. He was like, yeah, like we're talking about the mixed multitude concept. Yeah, Jay's going to be there. T's going to be there. No one's excluding this stuff from the mixed multitude stuff, man. People are just getting their feelings because we're talking about where people, how the descent actually works and where people actually come from, and where people got to change their doctrine based upon what the science is saying about their own DNA. But with that, I yield the floor.
Right. That's why you got a problem, because you found out your man's is the European, and he got videos saying judgments is going to rain upon the Europeans. Bro, that's oxymoronic. You are a descendant of a European, and it's eating you up inside, man. And since you don't like how it makes you feel, then there must be something wrong with the results. That's all it's been. You're trying to manipulate people to say DNA science is faulty science. Why haplogroups is faulty science? But you going around telling everybody who came off a slave ship is a slavery. I mean, is an Israelite, is a 100% right and exact. Everything you say is 100% right and exact. You're going around telling people that Jacob lived in 300 BCE. You go around telling people that Israel is not in the Levant, it's in East Africa, some goddamn where. All that shit's right, even though that goes against our archaeology, anthropology, genetics. That goes against written history. That goes against every goddamn thing. That's a cult.
Let's ask Sister E this question: do you believe the land of Israel is in East Africa? Is in Ethiopia? Do you actually believe that? Answer that question.
Right. You guys are just
I believe Teotw, they've never lied to me. Why?
They never lied to me. They do good to people. They shut the
hold on. How did they never lie to you, but they came on your channel to you and your viewers and showed fake maps, showed doctored up JED match results and whatnot, to where they were only showing, like they would show you like dual population results and only show you one side that said Limba, but wouldn't show you what else they connected to. They wouldn't show you their 20th place. They came online about the thing. What are you talking about, fam? And when people tell you that they're lying, you don't want to believe it, fam. Like I can't defend women that defend weak men. I can't do it.
But you know what it is though. I hate to say this, but she lies too. Because when Shari's done, I'm gonna go right back to the original subject of Yeshub and you popping in the live and then leaving. I got more for that, but I'm gonna wait till Shari's done. But yeah, she's also in with the line. I'm afraid to say.
Yeah, man, it's weird. Like you was all in my inbox on Clubhouse, giving me praise and saying, "Hey, come on my channel. You good with the DNA now." It's your boys and your friends. Now you're like, nah. I can't get with that. Everything these dudes are saying is true because they my friends. I thought the
Which-
Bible isn't the Bible against being impartial in judgment,
Yeah, what
right?
she say? Shari,
Mhm.
Sean, Yeshu, all of them, they can all kick rocks. More.
And then you don't even know how to be mean. I would have told you kiss my ass, kick rocks. What is this, kindergarten? Like, nah, man. Here's the
Or
thing.
shut up and sit down and don't jump in other people's business. How about that?
Exactly. That's why we even own Teotw case. We were
That's
dealing
true.
with the Gorilla Hebrew situation. They put themselves in that, right?
No. That's y'all clout chasing. Y'all secretly, y'all knew that if you was gonna talk about Gorilla Hebrew, it was gonna force Tayo and them to have to come out and say something and address y'all and shoot it rude. Y'all manipulated the whole situation.
Clout chasing.
The crazy part about saying that we're clout chasing, if we really are clout chasing, then why are you talking about us? Ain't that going to just get more attention
Obviously,
directed
we, we
towards
we
us?
we struck a nerve because you on Berean channel talking about us. We not on Berean channel talking about your ass.
Facts. And if we're clout chasing, who invited who on whose channel? So Yashub saying you were in his inbox inviting him to come on your show. You know, daggone well, you invited me to come on your show every time. Every time. Tayo and him asked to come on my joint to talk about the DNA. Who's clout chasing? Who's tagging who in these posts, fam? We're responding to the posts that we're getting tagged in.
That's
We're
before
clout chasing.
that's before Teyu exposed you as an agent, and the rest of us as well.
Hey, shout out to the CIA, the Catholic Israelite Alliance. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the
we
CIA.
are
Man.
clout
Check
chasing.
in the mail.
Abu,
my bad.
where's
Go
my
ahead, Mo.
money? Don't make me get after your ass.
Yo, Abu keeps sending me these rubber checks. You know what I'm saying? Let me keep bouncing the high heavy. You know what I'm saying? When one Casper, I got you. You know what I'm saying?
But
I'm gonna
they
show
really don't think
receipts.
that we're clout chasing, because if they really did, they would just ignore us like we ignore people.
I'm gonna show. I'm gonna show receipts, man. What I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna disrespect you to the point where I put your number out there because you did send me your number so we could link and do a live.
Yeah,
So
you can
right
block
now
that
I'm gonna
part out.
blotch that. I'm gonna blotch that out.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not like your boys.
threatening
That's
Berean.
just my way of saying they hoes. I'm not like that. Let me do the black pen. And I'm just gonna blotch this part out, right? And then I'm just gonna show you guys that I didn't reach out to her, she reached out to me, and she said we were doing good work over here, man. What happened? What happened, Sister Eve? What happened to us doing good work?
It's all good when we're beating up the people they can't beat up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't beat up Garfield. They can't beat up other people. But when we slap them up, like, oh, yeah, good job. But when them same hands go your direction because you talking nonsense and don't want to be accountable, oh, no, y'all trying to stop the awakening, fam.
we trying to stop the awakening. They said they gave Abu my credit. I was kind of jealous. They were saying Abu's destroying the community. Like, damn, all this work I'm putting in, y'all ain't gonna give me that credit.
Man, I was saying the same thing. I was like, if Abu's the boogeyman, I'm worse, fam. What you talking about?
Oh yeah, you can share my screen real quick. My bad. I don't know what's going on with my internet, but about this clout chasing thing, I'm glad y'all brought it up. Headache. I'm glad y'all brought it up about the clout chasing.
Yeah. Let me share my screen real quick, and I'm gonna give it to you. I want to show everybody this message because again, if we clout chasing, why were you looking for our help, offering us to be on your channel, telling us that our we're doing good works, right?
Yeah, she want to talk to me about DNA, about her haplogroup. Trying to diss
Oh
haplogroup.
man.
She wants to know about her L2.
Now, but after we talk about your pastor, now you upset, man. Watch this. Hold on real quick. I'm trying to get it to share on the screen here. And I'm just gonna give you the receipt. What they say right there, man? What they say? That is Sister E. Hold on, let me blow this up. Y'all gonna get this work, man. That's Sister E, right? That's her account on Clubhouse. She reached out to me, right? What did she say? She said, Shalom, got to get you on Berean so you can, I don't know what she was trying to say, viability. Gain viability, I guess that's what she was saying. They run to his show to come at us. I know you don't agree with him, Berean, but they have to look bad on their own playing field. Wait a minute, you trying to reach out to me to make Berean them look bad and UA and all these people look bad?
Wow.
But now it's a whole different ball game now, right? Oh, they just cloud chase. They just cloud. No, we actually care about the information and we're vanguards of it. And we don't want to allow the BHI racist doctrine to persist. So we make videos challenging these ideologies. And your boys just got caught in the crossfire teaching that bullshit.
Read the whole thing, Yeshua.
It says, but they have to look bad on their own playing field. Call me and let's talk about starting on my channel. You are doing a great work on DNA. Keep up the work.
Oh, I thought DNA wasn't important. But we're doing great work on the DNA. Okay.
And I texted back September 19th, mission accomplished, when we beat up on remember we went on Berean channel and beat up on Kevin G and LeBron. Yeah, she said, thanks. Y'all dealt with Kevin. See, it was all cool. It was all peaches and cream, marshmallows and rainbows when we was kicking them niggas' ass. And even Ron Dalton, you was like, I don't have a message of that, but you were okay with us kicking Ron Dalton's ass. But when it came to Teotw, we struck a fucking nerve, huh? And you want to get involved with it too?
I think I got screenshots of me and Sister E talking. Let me see if I can find some.
Yeah, man.
Before she quickly tried to delete it. Because I know she's watching them and Teotw. Yeah,
they're gonna hurry up, delete everything now. All right, sorry. You said you had something to show?
Yeah, I want to show this picture because they're talking about clout chasing, right? If it'll come up.
It was all good about a week ago.
Facts.
Yeah, man, these dudes is fake, man. They just don't want you to attack the people that they look up to. That's all. You can't say shit about them, can't correct them, can't tell them, hey man, your doctrine's off, can't do nothing. You gotta sit there and just be like, yes, man. We not fucking yes, man. Teotw was wrong. Teotw sat there on that live with us, and I went over the footage again today and told us that scientists just assign letters. There's no method to it. They just assign letters until they run out and say, okay, we ran out of mutations for E. Now we're going to progress to F. There is no paper that says that. Haplogroup E does not progress into haplogroup F. That is a lie.
Show the paper if you're going to make that claim. So what you got to do, you got to start pressing a TOTW to show the papers.
Why they keep asking? So my question to you, brothers, do any of you identify as Israelites? Let me answer you like this. We don't identify ourselves as Israelites the way they do. All right? Because their whole idea of Israel is an all black thing. Only descendants of slaves are Israelites, which makes no damn sense. Thank you, high be praised. Alphabetic genetics. Oh, yeah, A, B, C, D. No, that's not how haplogroups work. Stop it. When I had that conversation with you guys in 2020, I knew then you niggas didn't know what the hell y'all was talking about. I knew then. I guess this means Israel's in Uganda, Ivory.
Why did the 1948 people want Uganda for Israel? Bro, what is that supposed to prove? Explain your case. Like, what is that even supposed to prove?
Since they wanted Uganda for Israel, that means that's where the actual ancestral Israel is located. I guess that's what this brother is.
Bro,
this might be a tail page, man. Right? Niggas be like, E is overpopulated. Time to make F. Oh man, these dudes are silly, bro. Let me see what else. Payday is tomorrow. Hey, my brother. Hey, payday tomorrow, man. Abu. They said you orchestrating everything. They said you orchestrating everything, bro. So they put that on you, brother.
I know
All
one
right,
thing.
so
I lost a few checks, so I need that. Need that
I'm gonna
money.
show you guys because maybe all you guys are not aware of this. Let me go to Shari's page.
By the way, I
Oh,
found
yeah,
my messages
I just wanted to
between.
say that with the cloud chasing thing, that it's funny how they say that we cloud chasing, but when I go to my analytics on my YouTube, and I look at the content and the traffic sources, the top number one is Dante Fortson. Number two is my channel itself, and number three, I believe, is Orthodox More, and then Lion Farm is like the last one, or vice versa. So Sister E, boring channel, it ain't in my traffic sources. Teotw Ministries, okay, the cult, not in my traffic sources. Who am I clout chasing? What do I want from you besides brainwashed material? Nothing.
yeah. What do we gain by cloud chasing tail? Nothing. Like you guys are going around teaching that Jacob went back to 300 BC, man. Y'all made up this dude named Katz or reinforced that he existed. Like, come on, bro. Everything about y'all is pseudo as hell. And then, sister, you on that? They never lied. What did they lie about? Like, you willfully ignorant. You willfully ignorant. Watch this. Hold on. Let me
She's
share
gonna
my
fall
screen.
just like them, you know.
My camera not open. Oh, that's you on the video.
Sample. He said there are increased possibilities of similar sequences because of the way they collect the data. Similar sequences
Watch this, y'all.
are not a bad thing. I don't understand this point right here because you get a similar sequence. That's how you. One shares a common ancestor. For instance, if I have a group of individuals that all have EU290, somewhere in the past they descend from a male that had EU290 and dispersed it into population to them. Just like Avery just told you guys, the only way you can get these haplogroups is through the Y chromosome, right? How do you get a Y chromosome? From a man, from your father. He got it from his father, and he got it from his father into perpetuity. So if you have this, you come from a line of males that had it as well. This is why it's a patrilineal or patrilineal descent. So when we get to the biblical argument and say who's Jacob, we should be looking for a marker to identify that. If you're not dealing with that, you're not dealing with science, and you're not dealing with the Bible, because the Bible clearly states that the people that descend from Jacob. So we're looking for Jacob's descendants. You need a Y chromosome. There's no way around it. Okay, go to the next one, number 5. And Avery and Sean, just interject whenever
There
you
are
guys
increased
say something.
possibility because of the false positive. Belabor the point and repeat myself if you want to go.
Right here, number 5 says they seem to have an issue with the date ranges of SNPs. Again, this is another straw man to throw out there. I've done a video on Genesis 49 that's called Divergence Dating. I give sources and information against divergence dating. So it's based off of a random variable, which is mutations. Mutations are random. You can't clock a mutation. So since the variable is random, then the outcome is always going to be random. So no, you cannot precisely date when DNAs arose or diverge from the main branch. That's all that is. So there's no disagreement there. But again, how does this help the argument against using Y-DNA or haplogroups for determining a line of descent? This does not help that at all. Number 6 says they have an issue with people having the same haplogroup but not being related. Okay, so this is going into autosomal DNA testing, which Avery had. You said what?
1 second, I want to share with them what video you was just referring to, so that way they can go look it up, and I'm gonna also drop the link in the chat.
Also, sis, if Mourns in the back, you can pull them up whenever you want.
This is the video she was talking about when it comes to divergent dating.
Right. So that video is full of sources that you guys go check out about divergence dating and why it's a random variable and why the dates cannot give you precise dates. So when you see people say, well, haplogroup D came 70,000 years ago, that's an estimate at best. That's not a precise date because, again, the rate is determined on mutations and mutations are random. All right, let's go back.
So I'm going to go back to the other video.
Yes. Number 7 is referring to autosomal DNA, where it says, how could two people have the same haplogroup with a different autosomal makeup or estimate? So we have a book on this. It's called Y-DNA Testing. If you can pull that book up, and I believe it's the first reference I gave you about autosomal DNA and Y-DNA. Page 14, I think it is. And we're going to explain how two people can have the same haplogroup, which Avery already did a great job explaining it. We just want to give you this source material here.
Did he want to read his, or you want to read yours?
Is this page 14? Yeah, this right here. Let's read this.
It says at some point in your ancestry, your lineage is in as well, but you still connect into larger groups of descendants who have a common paternal ancestor who may have lived sometime in prehistory. So I want to stop there and give commentary. So this is why we use haplogroups, especially as being Israelites and claiming to be descendants of Jacob. This is a topic or area of expertise that you want to be involved in if you want to claim an ancient people, right? At some point, you're going to have to cross this road and look into DNA because these are real people. If they're real people, then they have Y chromosomes and X chromosomes. It says here, in Y-DNA genetic genealogy, these large groups of descendants are connected by a common mutation. So again, we know the SNP is what's determining the haplogroup. That's the mutation. When we can see the common mutation, we can say, okay, everyone that has EU290 like myself are related to a man that lived in the distant past. It says, in the Y-DNA genetic genealogy, these large groups of descendants are connected by a common mutation that occurred in the common male ancestor and are referred to as haplogroups. So again, this is just reinforcing what a haplogroup is. When you mention a haplogroup, you're dealing with a direct line of descent. Okay. It says, don't worry about that term for now because I'll cover it a lot more in more detailed chapters. Next one. Next page. Page 14, where it goes into autosomal DNA.
Oh, that's not page 14. That's page. Hold up. No, this one it didn't.
Yeah, it deals with the different types of testing.
Hold on, let me go to it real quick.
So we dealt with these arguments last year,
between
man.
Y-DNA testing and autosomal DNA testing because these two guys are confused because they'll bring up stuff like a paternity test. Yes, a paternity test is used to determine your first degree relative, which is your mother, father, sister, brother, because they will have a similar autosomal makeup. If you had a son or a daughter, 50% of your autosomes are going to go to them. 50% of your DNA is going to go to them. So you guys should be 50% similar. So when you take that test, it's going to say 99.7% the father. That's not paternity test work. This does not work to determine if you're an Israelite. This is only first degree relatives, mother, father, sister, brother. This is also why you can't interbreed with your sister, brother, mother, or father, because you're so genetically similar that genetic mutations and genetic deleterious mutations and genetic diseases arise because of too much similarity. What happens is when a mother and father get together and they have sex and they copulate, the DNA difference makes sure, it's called a selective sweep. It gets rid of all the deleterious mutations. But if there's no DNA difference or a large DNA difference, you're going to cause a lot of genetic problems. Can you pull that page back up?
Yeah, so I just want to show everybody to make sure that y'all know y'all see today's date. This was purchased today, this book, just because I had to get it. But she was read this book. That's why he's commenting on it. But here's the actual picture. Y'all can go find this on Amazon. So Amazon. You can find it on Amazon. Okay. Now we're gonna go back to the page.
Yeah, I recommend everybody get digital books, you know. If you get a hardcover, get the digital as well.
All right. Here we go.
Okay, so this is the page here when it explains autosomal DNA and the difference of Y-DNA testing and the advantages of it, right? So it says, the other major differences between autosomal DNA and Y-DNA is autosomal DNA has limited range. I hope you guys hear that. Autosomal DNA has limited range and can look back about 5 to 8 generations on average. So a generation is what, 25 years, I believe. This is not that far in the past, about 200, 300 years, somewhere around there. That's how deep autosomal DNA goes back. It does not go back to the times of the patriarchs. This is why it's not suffice to use as a tool to determine whether or not you're an Israelite. It's something that looks at modern population density, where people are today and who you're related to today. Maybe you did intermix or you admix with these groups. That's it. That's all autosomal DNA shows you. And there's a limited range. It only goes 200, 300 years. It says here, while Y-DNA essentially looks back an unlimited number of generations. So which one you guys want to use? The test that has a limited range or an unlimited range? 200, 300 years or the unlimited range? Again, we're trying to determine, are we related to these Bronze Age people?
Ivry, have they responded to any of this since we did this video?
Right? Are you? Is that you talking or is this the video?
That's me. That's me
Okay.
me talking, not the video.
All right. Yeah. No, they haven't responded to anything, and they never respond to any of our challenges to them. But we always, respond to theirs. But they don't seem to be able to.
Yeah, but that's going to stop. That's going to stop until they start producing. That's it.
I say we do a video on them, just as much as we can until they actually address our points.
I'm just gonna keep dragging these dudes in the dirt, man.
No,
or until they shut up, whichever happens first.
Yeah,
that's
too,
cool. We can continue to drag them, but what I'm saying is, I don't think anything that they ask of us to prove or until they prove something, we'll continue to drag them. But until they show some information that we need, then we're not giving them any more. We gave them enough.
No, notice how we argue, right? We give sources, we derive our inferences from those sources. Their arguments is, I'm Teotw, I guess I'm spiritually endowed or something like that. Listen to me. There's a big difference. And right here in this video, we explain what autosomal DNA entails, the limits of autosomal DNA, and how it doesn't go deep into time, which Y-DNA has unlimited generations, but you have a limited amount of generations with autosomal DNA. We broke all this down already. And they're still coming with the same lame ass arguments. And what am I reading from? Directly from the information.
/ Iron Age people. That's 2,000, 3,000 years from before present. So the answer should easily be use the Y-DNA, use the sex chromosome, because it has an unlimited range, and we're trying to connect ourselves to people that live at least 3,000, 4,000 years ago. Autosomal DNA is not sufficient. It can't even go past 300 years. So it says here, since the autosomal DNA that you inherit drops by 50% for each ancestor, every generation back in time, you only inherit about 3% of your DNA from any one of your 32 ancestors. Key point, any one. It's not telling you specifically. This is why you can't use it to determine if you descend from Jacob, because it's not specific. Any one of your ancestors. This is why when you take a ancestor.
So any one of your ancestors can contribute to your autosomal admixture, like your maternal grandfather or your paternal grandmother, right? They all can give you autosomal segments in your DNA. That's why it's not reliable for direct ancestry, right? It's not reliable, because if you have a great maternal grandfather that was East Asian, you pick up some of those autosomes, that doesn't mean you directly descend from that grandfather. That's why it's called an admixture test. I don't know how many times I got to keep beating that into y'all head, right?
History estimate or a DNA test on the autosomal level, it will say 3% Pacific Islander. It may say 5% French. It may say 10% Norwegian, but that just tells you that somewhere down your line, someone picked up these autosomes from somebody. It doesn't tell you that you yourself directly descend from a Norwegian. You yourself directly descend from an East Asian. It does not show you that. You cannot rely on autosomal DNA for direct descent. It says here, only inherit about 3% of your DNA from any one of your 32 ancestors from 5 generations back, though it does vary. Only about 1.5% of your 64 ancestors, 6 generations back, and less than 1% of any ancestor from older generations than that. You get past 64, these 64 ancestors, again, this is not direct ancestry, 64 ancestors. This is including people that your mother's mother or mother's mother's mother, may have interacted with and picked up those genes. Same thing on the father's side. So again, you can't use autosomes for direct descendants. It says those small percentages of DNA very quickly become too small for useful analysis. I'm gonna read it again. Those small percentages of DNA very quickly become too small for useful analysis. That should be the end of the video. It's like, what else is there to talk about? This is why we bring forth sources. This is why we bring forth information. You can't use autosomal DNA to determine whether or not you come from Jacob, whether or not you're an Israelite. Because again, how do you connect yourself to the population if you can't, 1, get past 300 years, 2, use the information to pinpoint a specific people? All right, so where are we at now? The page changed. Did I read everything on that one? It says those, yeah, okay, go to the next page. And also, since DNA recombines to larger chunks rather than tiny pieces, starting at about 5 generations back, you may not inherit any DNA. That's a key point. You may not inherit any DNA. I lost my position. Oh, right here. You may not inherit any DNA from certain ancestors. And the percentage of ancestors that did not contribute anything to your DNA increases dramatically from there going further back in history. Y-DNA, on the other hand, is very different. It's limited to one line of your ancestry only, but can see mutations from hundreds of thousands of years back on that line. This is why we use Y-DNA. It's father to son. So Jacob's a male. He had sons. We're using this one because we're tracing a male lineage. It's that simple. Autosomes, you might not inherit DNA from someone that lived 200, 300, 400 years ago or what have you. You may not inherit it. It's not a guarantee. You want to say something, Sean?
No, that wasn't me, bro.
Oh, did somebody want to? I thought that was someone trying to add,
Yeah, I
something
was
to
gonna
it.
ask you, Stars. I was gonna ask you, can you read this autosomal part right here, because it touches on that again, like hammering home.
Where is that again? Highlight it. Blue highlight. Autosomal, right here, yeah. Autosomal DNA tests give you ethnicity percentages. Y-DNA testing does not. After only 10 generations, your Y-DNA represents less than 0.1% of your ethnic makeup. Exactly. But because again, ethnicity, what we call ethnicity, African American, Latino, whatever, you can map that with autosomal DNA. But with Y-DNA, it goes further before those things, those names, or those titles, those pseudonyms were even a thing, and those people groupings were even a thing. Another issue with that is What is Teotw Ministries actually doing here? Let's just sit back and analyze that. Are they saying an Israelite is an African or African American only, or a black person only? Are they using the modern concept of race and using that to determine what an Israelite is? None of these things existed during the time of Jacob. Two, they're not biological units. They're fictitious. They're pseudonyms that were made up. It's a construct. We're dealing with biology when we're dealing with strictly Y chromosomes. But yes, and when we're dealing with ethnic ancestry, that's why you'll see like 60% African or 50% European or whatnot. That can be determined with autosomes.
Plus,
Not
how is the
with
ancient
DNA.
Israelite? Oh, my bad. Keep going.
No, you got it, bro. Go ahead.
Plus, how is the ancient Israelite going to be 100%, let's just say, sub-Saharan African, Yoruba, Nigerian, if we know that the Israelites in ancient times were mixing with Canaanites and Egyptians?
That's a
and
great
all types
point.
of other ethnic groups in the scriptures. You know, we know who they mixed with. That DNA is going to be split in half, depending on who they mix with. So no one's going to be a purebred anything. I mean, it's been 3,000 years. Do we expect them to be
That's a great point. I brought that up the other day, man. Like, you guys can't be. You guys are trying to say that Jacob then was sub-Saharan African autosomally. That's bullshit. They're in the Near East. They're mixing with other Near Easterners. Most likely, they would have been Near Eastern. The autosomal DNA would have reflected that. So let me get to the part of the video when they made the dumb statements, man. I think it's towards the end here with the conversation between me and Teotw and Sue.
He's absolutely correct.
Pull the paper then.
Why
Pull
pull
the
the
paper.
I can easily do that. But anyway, why DNA does not change over time, only through accumulation, right? So the basal haplogroup, it will not change. So if you're haplogroup E and you have a child, he's going to inherit that Y chromosome that's haplogroup E. If you add a mutation to it, like E1B1 adds a mutation, becomes E1B1A or E1B1B, coming from EP2. That will not change.
Nah, brother, haplogroup is faulty science. You guys misuse it. The papers clearly say it's a
not
theoretical
faulty science.
science.
It's not
and
theoretical
you
at all.
all talking about it don't change. Wait, hold on, let me ask this. So let me ask you, 49er.
Well, you gotta let me
Hold on.
finish.
Okay, let me get this question out.
Well,
Let
you
you have
cut
the
me
floor.
off.
all that you should?
If
You
Isaac
cut me
is
off. Hold on, brother. Let us talk.
I just got to point this out. All right, so everything that Teotw is doing right now is just making claims. He never pulls any papers that say haplogroups is a hypothetical science. I just want to point that out. He's just talking, not proving anything with actual papers. All right, you can go ahead.
If Isaac is E1B1A, what's Jacob and Esau, and what's their descendants?
I don't teach that Isaac was E1B1A, but if they were hypothetically E1B1A, their children would all be E1B1A. You can only go downstream. You can't go upstream. That's a scientific fact. If you knew anything about genetics, you would know that.
Man, I know about genetics. You don't. You up here using this science saying that it don't change. But when I give you a scenario,
When he said, I know about genetics, you don't, and all I do is read from DNA papers, talk about genetics, and you guys heard the early part of the clip. I explained myself well when it counts the most when we're talking about genetics. No
This
one
right
else
here.
broke down this autosomal DNA stuff, man. Nobody broke it down. I remember 10 years ago, Polite was talking about being 80% sub-Saharan African. Everybody was talking about autosomal DNA. I never heard nobody explain the limits of autosomal DNA. How is it inherited? What does it denote? The fact that autosomal DNA can come from any of your ancestors, not your direct ancestors, but the indirect ones as well. Like, no one never broke that down. And for this idiot to get out here and say, no, you don't know. Let's keep listening to what he says. He's just going to put his foot in his mouth.
where Isaac, it doesn't matter if Isaac is E1B1A. Hold on. The theory applies. Okay. In your scenario, E1B1A, let's say it's Isaac. In that case, why don't change? Jacob and Esau are the same. Jacob and Esau's children are the same.
Yes, they will all be in that scenario that you just created. They will all be downstream mutations of E1B1A.
But guess what you guys never talk about? You guys never talk about mutation.
Well, you have to
mutation can happen at any time. See, you guys make assumptions.
No, that's
mutations can change. Mutations can happen in any generation.
Let me help you out because you're just trying to overtalk instead of having.
No, I don't need your help. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can mutations happen in any generation?
A mutation will happen, but it will only cause a downstream of E1B1A.
No, yes or no?
E1B1A1.
Okay, so is Jacob E1B1A and is Esau E1B1B?
Let me explain. You don't want the people to hear it. E1B1A will not create an R marker. That will not happen. That's a different accumulation that comes from a different basal haplogroup or paragroup. That's a scientific.
All right. No, you are 100% wrong. I'll tell you why. Because throughout this genetic research history, what has happened was their mutations will get to a point where they say E1B1A, E1B1B, E1B1C, E1B1CA, and it got too long. And because it got too long, they say no longer E. Let's make it D. That's how it works. So you're wrong. So that's faulty. See,
No, that's not how.
That's exactly what happened.
Did y'all hear what he just said?
Bro, that is insane. Why do people listen to this guy? That's not how it works.
So scientists are sitting around with a bunch of lab coats writing down mutations. Oh, we ran out of mutations. Give me the F mutations. Now it's going to progress into F. Oh, when we're done with F, go to the next letter. Then when we're done with that letter, let's go to the next letter. Let me get the phylogenetic tree real quick.
That's what I was about to say. Get the tree so he can actually.
I got one that's perfect. It's actually in a book.
But it really sounds.
It's
like,
not even that. It's the
It sounds
fact
like-
that when you research the nomenclature, okay, and they tell you exactly how they came up with naming the haplogroups. When you go E1B1A and all these A1, A all this, etc., that's the long form, and then the shorthand would be them just going with the it was either the STR or the SNP marker, which would have been like your EU290, your EP252. You know, the long form would be E1, B1, A1, all this other stuff, but the shorthand would have been that. That's the only way. Like, it's literally how it's done. You don't go from one whole haplogroup to another haplogroup because they got tired of naming it with all the extra sub. Like, that makes absolutely no sense, and it shows just how ignorant you are of the science.
No, so this is where, like, when Ibra asked the question, are they doing it on purpose or is it an accident? This is where it's on purpose, right? And so me and Yeshua encountered this concept a bunch of times about them doing the alphabetical order thing. But look at why they do it. So if they do it that way, then G eventually comes out of E.
I think
you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I think I get what they're trying to say. If you have a piece of paper and you're writing down E consecutively on one line, at some point you're going to run out of space. So when you run out of space, on the next line, you start with the new letter.
It's not even that. If I can convince you, yeah, it's not even that. If I can convince you that it's an alphabetical order, then you automatically assume that G comes out of E. And so when they're talking about this whole out of Africa thing, where they throw like, see, G originally comes out of Africa, and blah blah blah. Like they have this whole, they have their own model that they're pretending that they don't have, but they do have. They have the alphabetical model, right? And that all what we're calling Japhetic, all of those originate in Africa alphabetically, right? That's what they're saying. And so they're still African. Even if you find a haplogroup that's not in Africa, right? It's still African because it goes back to Africa. That's the whole concept.
Right. So this is how you interpret the phylogenetic tree properly. It just doesn't go just A, B, C, D, E, F, G like these guys were claiming. So you have your A and your B groups. A branches out and makes its own little particular branch here and becomes B. Then there's another branch that comes here, right? What is this branch here? What is this node? This connecting node is CT. CT develops DE and CF, right? D and E doesn't become F. F descends from CF, right? And then they split and become C and F. DE splits and becomes D and E. This is not an alphabetical order. It's not an alphabetical order at all. Oh, yeah. D, and it eventually becomes E. Then E eventually becomes F. No. When he said that, I knew he didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
You mean to say G doesn't come out of E, sir?
G doesn't come out of E. G comes. Matter of fact, G comes from F, and HIJK split off of that. So then you still can't even apply that alphabetical order stuff. You can't. Because look at J and I. It comes from IJ. This is not about alphabetical order, man. Watch this. I'm going to go to the next one, the bottom one. Can y'all see that? Let me shrink this. So what they said, it showed they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. See, look, P becomes Q and R. You have these different letter groups split into separate letters. IJ becomes IJK up here becomes haplogroup K and haplogroup IJ. Then IJ splits into I and J. Now each letter represents what? male descendants. They get their own branch on the family tree, and then they continue to produce descendants that only have the E marker or only have the D marker or pick whatever letter on this tree. They do not intersect. They don't magically become another haplogroup. They don't magically become M. E is not going to magically become G. A is not going to magically become T. It does not work that way. But if you listen to these guys, they will have you thinking that's how the phylogenetic tree works.
And that's why they never pull up the phylogenetic tree and explain to people how it works. They never pull it up and explain it.
Because if you never see it, you don't know it's there. And so they're banking on the fact that you're not going to do the research yourself. They're literally banking on the fact that you're not going to do the research.
And that's the main
Yeah, because if you
problem with
do
the
and you come
followers.
back and say something, they're just gonna A, delete your comment, and number two, act like you're attacking them, make a community post and issue a challenge that they don't hold up to themselves, and they continue on with their cult-like behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad.
Meanwhile, all while telling you you're an Edomite, because now that you're free thinking and you disagree with them, now you, like 5 minutes ago you was an Israelite all the way. Now that you disagree, you gotta be an Edomite, fam.
Oh man, these dudes are silly. And then they had the nerve to say they're just mad because they don't look like us. We don't know how you fucking look.
Exactly.
All I
Tail
see is
never
the
showed their
bullseye.
face.
I never
Go
seen
ahead.
these guys' face, man. First, it was they scared of the autosomal DNA test, and we show our damn autosomal DNA test, right? Blew them out the water. Most of us are majority, sub-Saharan African. Blew them out the water with that. Now it's they don't look like black people. That's why they're making the doctrine. Y'all keep moving the goalposts.
Hold on, clarification.
You know what they
When
want.
all else fails, skin doctrine.
All of us are a majority sub-Saharan African. Every last one of us are a majority. That's what we are, right? Every last one of us is less Western European than Teotw and Jacob. Every last one of us. On average, I'm the most European out of all of us. On average, I'm 8% Western European. 8% on average. They're pulling 1/5 to a quarter, fam. 1/5 to a quarter. And like they're saying, that's reinforcing their haplogroup.
Right, man. And y'all told us to show our DNA. We did. Right? When are you guys going to reveal your maternal DNA and your entire autosomal admixture? And also, I want to see what I want to see what 23andMe said about your paternal ancestor, because when you see my 23andMe, it connects me to Ramesses III. I think we know who you guys connect back to. Hold on, I'm gonna show you guys this.
Wait,
if you got a
connect
D
to
marker,
Ramses III?
Huh?
Wait a minute. You connect to Ramses III?
Yeah, I connect to Ramesses III.
That means you're the descendant of the Pharaoh of oppression.
Yeah.
You're a Hamite. And that is what Teotw said, by the way, family. That's what they said.
Right.
Oh,
so majority of African Americans.
Wait. How was Ramses III the Pharaoh of oppression if Jacob lived in 300 BC?
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
No.
If Israel's in Ethiopia, what are you talking about?
So this is what I mean about Candyland Israelites trying to colonize your mind. Like, so if they can get you to cheer on saying that EM2 is you know what I'm saying, the haplogroup of like the Hamites, etc., and the meanwhile, like the majority of y'all got that joint. Y'all, oh my, this is what they got you cheering against yourself.
Facts.
They have you cursing your own ancestors. Y'all ought to be ashamed.
And Sister E, that goes for you too. You got a West African marker, man. They going against you too. And you up there, and holding hands with these people, and at the same time they disrespecting your ancestors, man.
And you know what the thing is? It's because they don't like their own ancestry, so they're going to get you to hate your ancestry too. That's what it is.
Exactly. This is what their 23andMe probably says. And I want them to show this to the world. You and King Richard III of England share an ancient paternal line ancestor. This is probably what it says, bro. And they don't want to share that with the world, right?
Bro, you better be proud of that European history.
Man,
y'all conquered most of the world.
You better tap into that King Richard III energy. You better tap into that energy real quick, man. So, Teotw, I know y'all watching. I know y'all hating. Show your entire 23andMe like we did. Stop being afraid. Stop being bitches, man. Just show it. Y'all claim that we were scared of autosomal DNA. We showed the whole world our autosomal DNA admixture. We showed our paternal and maternal haplogroups. Why can't you do the same? Is it because 23andMe connected you to King Richard III? Is that why you don't want to show it, family?
Watch him try to make King Richard III a black Israelite.
Yep, that's next.
Family, he ain't really white. He's actually
a black Jew. Oh my God.
Have you not already seen the Black Germany series, man?
No, I haven't.
No.
Yeah, I haven't. No.
It's been up, bro. They're already on making all of Europe black, fam. Now, I'm definitely not saying that there wasn't like an Afro-Asiatic presence in certain parts of Europe, but like, fam, they're trying to, yeah, it's a whole nother
thing. If all of Europe is black, then who are the J fights?
Ain't no J fights. Just
why
y'all connected with Europe anyway? Ain't Israel and East Africa?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man, y'all gotta tap into your ancestry, bro.
Be proud.
Are we gonna get to their video? I do want to kind of touch on it.
Yeah. Hold on, real quick. Let me do this real quick. Then this will only take a few seconds. I just want to go back to that video. Then we're gonna get to that video, and if we don't get through all of it tonight, part 2 tomorrow.
Yeah. We don't have to get through all of it. Just some of the beginning part, and we can stop.
Check this out.
Since you cut me off, I must interject here. That's not how it works. He does not transform the gene.
When the mutation,
that is not how it works.
Hold on, yes it does.
Let him finish it. Let me finish it.
Continues down that line. They choose another representation. The mutation no longer goes down the E line. It becomes D because of the various mutations down that line. That's just how it works. You're wrong.
All right,
he said I'm wrong, and he just made some shit up.
E and D comes from the paragroup DE. E does not progress into D. That's false. You can't pull a scientific paper. You cannot give me a phylogenetic tree. All you gotta do is hold on, stop, bro. All you gotta do is pull up a phylogenetic tree showing the progression of E and D. They come from DE. Okay.
No,
how do we know they're related? How do we know they're related? How do we know they're related? Through the mutation accumulation. When you're E1B1A or EU290 like I am, the U290 is the terminal SNP. That's a mutation. So everyone that has the U290 shares a paternal ancestor.
No, all you're talking about, all you're talking about is
you don't know what you're talking about.
All you're talking about is the designation assigned to those markers. All you're talking about is the designation assigned to those markers by the experts. You are wrong. That's exactly how they make the decision. When the mutation happens and it gets too long, they assign a new letter. Do some homework.
When it gets too long. Oh my God.
A new letter.
Similar. The only way to get mutations is to inherit it. How do you inherit it? Through sex, through your mother and father getting together. That's how they know that if you have this Y chromosome with the U290 SNP, then you descend from a common male ancestor that first it arose in. It's that simple.
No, look, Berean.
Our M269 does not have U290. You don't know if you go do your DNA and do your SNPs, you're not going to have M81.
Look, Berean, they making assumptions based on what the experts.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on. No, you don't. Look, Berean, they make assumptions because what they're doing is they're making assumptions based on the stuff they find on Wikipedia and maybe some other references. But this is the standard assignment based on the scientific experts. They have designated. They have designated these standards on how they're going to designate what marker is what. Do you think they created?
Teotw just lying through his teeth.
I got put in the back too.
E got too long. The mutations happened.
But they took a map off Wikipedia.
This new area because the mutation was so significant.
Right.
They said, let's reassign
technically, they changed the map. So
hold on a second. Come on.
Technically, they didn't take it from him.
They appropriated.
No, grace and peace, man. Peace and blessings, family. So I want to get some clarity on a couple of things because Salam, you know what I'm saying? Like we talked about this. I've interviewed your brother about this whole matter of fact, it's the exact topic. And so I would like to get some clarity if I could, because I'm a little bit confused, right? So when you're saying what Abu's talking about in terms of like let's say like Jacob was E1B1A, and you're saying Esau would be E1B1A. You're saying that's a problem, right?
That's for Taylor, right?
Yeah, you're saying that's a problem.
Could you repeat that?
You're saying like, so if like the Esau and Jacob having the same paternal haplogroup is a problem?
I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm saying the way they tend to talk about haplogroup mutations, they, you know, genetically, you would when you think someone's Esau, I mean, when you think someone is Jacob, they could very well be Esau according to their argument. That's all I'm saying. And when I said E to D, I didn't mean backwards. I meant E to F. So that's my mistake there.
So they're saying that, you know, when it comes to Jacob and Israel, you won't be able to tell who is who based on the Y-DNA haplogroup because they'll both have E markers. But can't you make that same argument for autosomal DNA? Like, does Jacob and Esau both have sub-Saharan African autosomal DNA? And if that's the case, then how do you know you're not an Edomite? And how do you know that I'm an Israelite? If autosomal DNA, specifically sub-Saharan African autosomal DNA, is what we have to use to determine the descendancy of the Israelites. And let's just say Abraham, let's just say Shem in general. Let's say all the Shemites, all the Shemitic peoples have sub-Saharan African DNA. How do you know we're not Midianites or Moabites, Israelites, Edomites, Ishmaelites, if Shem is a sub-Saharan African, which I'm pretty sure, I'm assuming that he believes Shem is a sub-Saharan African. How can we determine these things?
You know what's weird? Because if they're saying Israel is East Africa, what's the autosomal admixture of East Africa? I'm pretty sure it's not
very different from ours.
Yeah,
East Africans are like
sub-Saharan African, man.
Yeah,
a lot of those guys got Eurasian ancestry.
Exactly.
Then what?
East Africans are a split between Nilo-Saharan and Arabian.
You guys keep running into these genetic brick walls, even with autosomal DNA, because you claim it's East African shit, but the East Africans don't have, like, that's, for instance, the Somali people. You think the Somalians are 100% sub-Saharan African? No, they got a lot of Eurasian introgression going there. That's why you see a lot of T, you see a lot of J with them. The Nubians, right, in northern Sudan. You think that their autosomal profile is overwhelmingly sub-Saharan? No. Right? So you guys are, again, you guys are pseudo, you guys call the
They're the kings of pseudo.
Yeah, you guys are pseudoscientists, man. And you
no, we can't give them that word scientist.
No, your understanding of haplogroups is faulty. Because haplogroups are concrete. It's in our DNA. It's in our cells. There's no way around it. All right, let me get, because I really want to get to the point where he said Jacob lived in 300 BC. Now I'll drop this video.
Yeah,
he says it in this.
You're talking about like that methodology can connect someone to Esau as well. On an autosomal level, wouldn't the same thing also be very possible, being the fact that Esau and Israel got the same paternal lineage, etc.?
Oh, absolutely.
So what would
that's why we say the curses is the key.
So if the same problem is presented with the autosomal concept, I'm trying to figure out what the issue is.
The issue is that mutations happen a lot more often in a human being, let's say, genetically, than what people are saying. So when they say, oh, Jacob is E1B1A, Jacob, you might be Jacob and you E1B1B.
Okay.
Right? You could still be Jacob.
What's wrong with that? Well, what you disagree with that?
No, so here's what I'm trying to figure. I'm trying to figure out what's the criteria if you're going to use the autosomal route. I'm trying to figure out what's the cutoff point for when someone's Israel. Like, so Abu was talking about someone who was 97% European, would have like a Jacob's paternal line, right? And so the original argument was like, well, they wouldn't be Israelite because they don't look like one. It's like a phenotype argument, right? Hold on, let me finish what I'm saying. Like, you can correct me, I'm done. No issue. That's what it was sounding like, right? And so what I'm trying to figure out is you were saying like, no, it's an autosomal connection. I'm like, all right, cool. So how much autosomal DNA mixed with it is like, how much do you have to not be?
Right, I can't make that determination on what percentage is going to be an Israelite. What I'm saying is,
wow, so he doesn't even have a model there.
We don't. It's just that when we started teaching about it, because people were talking about only E1B1A is Israel, and we like that doesn't work when you look at the data, when you look at the information. So we tried to educate people on why you might have an Israelite who's an R1B and an E1B1A, but their autosomals are almost identical. You know,
you believe it could fade out where you could lose that DNA and no longer be an Israelite?
Repeat that, Barian.
You believe that it could fade out and you could no longer be an Israelite if you started off as one through mixing?
I mean, if you're, I mean, you can definitely become a European. Like in Abu's scenario, at what point are you still an Israelite if for the last 7 generations you've been European, right? So this is why we say we don't even teach DNA. We don't believe in it. People were asking for answers, and we were showing why it was faulty. This is why we say the curses are the key. The curses in Deuteronomy 28.
And you've been saying that from the gate. You've been saying
from
that
the very beginning. Yes.
And those videos that you had with DNA, you're just attempting to answer people. It's not like you promoting all of this stuff.
We're not promoting DNA at all. We were just showing why haplogroup is faulty and why autosomal. If you were going to try to do it scientifically, then autosomal makes sense. But we don't promote either one. We were just showing, look, 22 chromosomal matches versus 1.
If that's the case, then why do they have so many videos on DNA?
Right. And they said, but here's the thing. They said autosomal makes sense. No, here's the real reason. Teotw, you took a test, you found out you were haplogroup G. Now you have to spin a narrative to get away from the fact that you have a European haplogroup. That's why you're attaching yourself to autosomal. Oh, autosomal DNA says I'm African, just like the woman did on YouTube. She found out she had a European haplogroup, and she was devastated. She was angry that she's European maternally, right? She had haplogroup H. So then she did a follow-up video where she was like, well, actually, the truth is I'm autosomally African. That does not change your maternal line of descent. She did the same thing Teotw did. Ran the
Gorilla
autosomal
Hebrew
DNA.
did the same thing too. Because he tried to, I said Gorilla Hebrew did the same thing too, because he tried to use the whole Sudanese DNA to be like, oh, I'm actually,
I'm actually from Sudan. Yeah, I'm actually from Sudan. And I'm glad you said that, because we got to pull up the 23andMe and go to the timeline and explain to the people what the timeline is telling.
Yeah, people get into now. It's crazy.
You see, that's not rocket science.
If I may, on that last part right there, 22 chromosomes, you have to break that down and put it in perspective, not going off the number. This is not a greater than contest. The Y chromosome shows you your paternal patrilineal descent. So if you're making an argument for who is a descendant of Jacob, then you would have to go off of the patrilineal, and the patrilineal will have to be consistent. The patrilineal is not going to make E to F. It's not going to be A to G. It's not going to jump all over the place. Patrilineal, if you have that Y chromosome, you got it from a male. He got it from a male. Maria, your father's Y chromosome is your Y chromosome. Your grandfather's chromosome is yours, so on and so forth. How Y chromosomes transmitted through sex, through reproduction and copulation. That's how you determine a paternal line. That's how you do it. You don't determine it through autosomal DNA. Autosomal DNA gives you the history or the snapshot, or the biological snapshot of who your ancestors admix with. This is why when you get an autosomal DNA estimate, you will see Asian ancestry, you will see Pacific Islander ancestry. Does that mean you directly descend from a Pacific Islander that existed 500 years ago? No. But someone in your line admixed with those peoples. That's all it's telling you. Y DNA and your X chromosome tell you who you descend from directly. It's a direct line.
Okay, the 23andMe, Ancestry.com, those people have experts who determine what category to place you. It is a manual decision. They look at the computerized generated results, but they are the ultimate ones that decide whether or not they're gonna put you in bucket A or
now
bucket
it's
B.
conspiracy.
Okay? And not only that, some people, and I'm sure there may be some listening.
So it's people that sit in lab coats all day and they look at your DNA and say, "Oh, Avery, you're haplogroup N." I just feel like making you N today. There's no rhyme and reason to this. I'm just gonna write down N and send you this report and say that you're N.
Yeah, they do this with thousands upon thousands of people in one day. All these scientists are just putting that in. But the crazy thing is I've taken multiple DNA tests. YAP Gang knows I've taken like probably 10 plus DNA tests. They all give me haplogroup E, a specific subclade. I'll name it in the future, but they all give me haplogroup E, and I get the exact same subclade each time. CRI Genetics, DNA Genix, 23andMe, Family Tree DNA. Are you telling me the scientists somehow from completely different companies are each writing down the exact same subclade I have if it's just a guessing game when they get the results of some person?
Well, somebody on their channel said they're all owned by the same people, the Ashkenazim.
which that part isn't even true. But even if there were, excuse me, but even if they were all owned by one person, you still have in their worldview, there's still individual scientists in different, bases and different companies giving people these different haplogroups, again, according to them. How would they manage to give me the exact same subclade each and every time? and they're in different buildings. You know, different scientists in different buildings doing this.
Cell
Again,
phone
according
does.
to them.
They-
Cell phones. 7 billion people in the world, or 8 billion people in the world, and everybody's doing it.
They call the 23andMe call family trend DNA. What did you assign Avery? Oh, we assigned him haplogroup N. Oh, okay, let me make sure I do the same thing so he don't catch on.
Bro.
But here's the crazy part, fam. When it comes to all the autosomal tests, every one of those DNA sites will tell you that they all do so based upon a computer-generated algorithm and based upon their own specified. They each have different sample sizes from different parts of Africa to determine the regions and whatnot, right? And so everything that they do, like, so they're talking, oh, they're just playing a guessing game. Fam, autosomal is the biggest guessing game. What are you talking?
That's true, because
they don't send you updates on your chromosomal stuff. They send you updates on your autosomal DNA, fam.
That's an excellent point, because my autosomal is slightly different on different tests. Like I might have a little bit more Nigerian on Ancestry.com or a little bit less Nigerian on like 23andMe. That's true. That's a good point. So autosomal is a little bit more tricky compared to Y-DNA, because that doesn't change. It's always E1B1A when I have my different tests from different companies.
Hey, sorry, what is that you're trying to share? I guess she stepped away, but she got a video. I want to play it. I'm kind of hesitant because I don't know what she's trying to bring out there. But it looks funny.
Hey, you got to let me show something for 2 seconds, right quick.
Did he get to the part though with the 300 BC? I thought we were going to do that.
They definitely said this in that video. They said Jacob goes back to what 300 BC. I was like, God damn it. Yeah, man, those guys, man. It's so much incorrect.
Nice. Send that to me on Facebook.
That's a boo in your shoe.
Y'all know what it is, fam. But no, when y'all done showing this in the in charge video, I got the 5-minute video where they're talking about that haplogroups are different than sex chromosomes. And
what?
And then they try to deny that they said it, and then like again, this is where it goes south on my last interview with them, right? It's because they say this, like I'm trying to like get some baseline understanding for the family and for everyone listening.
You set them up is what you did. You set them
I was
up.
about the same thing. Oh no, you set them up, man.
Yeah, because I knew they were gonna say sex chromosomes were different than haplogroups. I was like, huh? But like,
well, you're a Muslim. You can read minds, can't you?
I got the Muslim mind trick. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, you know
exactly, bro.
That's what it is. I got you. The Sith of the game. You know what it is. The Brooklyn Magic. You know what it is.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy I joined the CIA. Take down these pseudo ass niggas. All right, so let me pull this back up, Avery, and we don't get to it within a minute.
I didn't hear what you say. Repeat that. I was in the middle of something. Repeat.
No, I said I'll pull the video back up and see if we can get to that part. If not, we'll drop it.
Okay.
Who have gotten multiple haplogroup results? I know one guy got an A, he got an E, and one other, he got 3 different haplogroup results. So now we can obviously say something was wrong there, right? So once again, some of you guys who think you E probably might have been an error right there, right?
Pause that again. I just got to repeat. I've taken multiple tests. I get the exact same E subclade. Many other people in YAP game have taken multiple DNA tests. They all get the exact same subclade. He never provided any evidence for this person getting a bunch of different, like 3 different haplogroups. Like,
I have heard of people getting 2 different haplogroups from 2 different DNA companies. However, the DNA companies weren't necessarily the most efficient people, and they mixed up people's testing and gave people the wrong testing.
Right, I believe that can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not. You're not going to get it like the way the SNPs works. Like, so a SNP is a set of letters, etc., in genetic code, right? And so unless that letter is in those set of letters are in a specific sequence, you can't call it that particular SNP, right? So you're not misreading that, fam. They're not going to, like, Like so, like Avery said, like he's never seen a company give him a different SNP or a different terminal SNP for his haplogroup or whatnot, haplotype or whatnot, right? It's very specific. Like so, even when you see like you might see companies be a little bit more specific than others. Like I was watching somebody who took a 23andMe test that said that they were female, they were L1C1 L1C1C, like it gave one more letter, right? And then she took the matrilineal test from African ancestry, and they told her she was L1C1. They just left off one letter, right? So sometimes they don't use the same STR count, so they don't get as many letters on the SNP, right? But there's a minimum amount that makes that can make a certain SNP away. So if she's L1C1, she's L1C1 wherever she goes. That doesn't change.
Right.
Hey, more. You think they took 3 different tests to prove that hypothesis true or not?
Yo, you know what I did? Check this out, fam. After they came on my show, right? Literally a couple of days later, I was like, you know what? Let me throw y'all a bone right quick. Y'all potentially could be Comorian and whatnot, based upon the fact that y'all like, you know how they showed their my ancestor and they had no West African hits, but it was all East African hits.
Yeah.
I was, you know what? I looked at your joint. You have some Southeast African DNA on your 23andMe. You might have actually came through. You might have been one of them people that came through like Madagascar or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That could have been your joint because the Comorians have G2A. I was like, that it's very possible. Like y'all might want to go to Family Tree and double on a scientific level, double check your haplogroup and see if potentially it was another form of G2A that you have, right? Because you might have one that's very particular to the Comorians and whatnot, because they also come through the same slave trade. But they never did another test, and they never took me up on that concept, and they never saw that as an olive branch. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, what is his name, Hyphy, talking about in his comment? You see it?
Yeah, anybody paying him no attention. He's with the conspiracy shit. So his name Hyphy. What I want you to do is get a family tree kit, get a 23andMe kit. What's another company that gives you your paternal?
CRI Genetics.
Yeah, I was going to say
or DNA Genetics. There's a lot.
Yeah, DNA Genetics. Matter of fact, get all of them. You take all of them and see if the Y chromosome change. Then get back with me. All right, let me play this.
They're going to put you in. It's not that you 100% match every time. They decide if what they see warrants you going in a specific bucket.
Well, my response to that would be this. First of all, with Y haplogroup assignment and X haplogroup assignment, they're not pulling the numbers or pulling the names out of thin air. They're basing it off of the SNPs and STRs. So if you have the same SNPs and STRs as somebody, again, how do you inherit DNA? Through sex. So that means a line of descent or common ancestry. If you and I share the same terminal SNP U290, that means you and I share a paternal ancestor that had U290. That SNP or mutation. That's how they do it. Now, autosomal DNA has a 76% accuracy rate. Y chromosome, X chromosome, that's 99.9%. You're not going to get more accurate than that because we can determine who you come from by the mutation accumulation, not just mutation, accumulation. Meaning, look at it like this. You have a stack of red Legos. That's haplogroup E. You add an orange Lego on top of it. Now, that's the mutation at the end of it. That would be my mutation, U290. Now, anything with that stack of red Legos descend from the same basal group, which is what we're calling haplogroup E. There's accumulation of mutations that you have that are similar to other people groups, and that shows who you descend from. So when we get to the biblical argument and you say, hey, let's go off prophecy. Let's go off the people that went through the slave trade. The slave trade is a variegated group. There's many people that went through the slave trade that are not directly descended from a common ancestral pool. For example, the Chadic people, RV88. We have some people to this day, African Americans, that come from RV88. We do not descend from the same ancestors as them. So to say just simply because they went through a slave trade or they follow your interpretation of the curses does not mean they share common ancestry. I say this all the time. Common experience does not equal common ancestry.
Well, your assumption is that the Chads are not descendants of one of Jacob's sons. See, that's the mistake. You can't prove it. You made an assumption, and in reality, the Chads who have been in Africa for thousands of years.
Wait a minute. So it's an assumption to say that they're not the children of Jacob or they share common ancestry with other African American groups. But it's not an assumption to say that they're actually direct descendants of Jacob.
See, you see how that is? You have to listen to him, but he can't listen to you or give you the benefit of the doubt, or even just follow the science. You have to listen to him.
We do not share paternal ancestry with many of the people of Chad. It's just that fucking simple.
Years and just happen to have a different haplogroup, still may be a descendant of one of Jacob's sons. You guys make the faulty assumption and you can't back it up. And as I said, go.
Did y'all hear that? If somebody has a different haplogroup, still may be the descendant of Jacob. That makes no sense. Jacob's a man. He has one Y chromosome, meaning he will only have one haplogroup.
Like
you can
I
only
said,
take downstream mutations from that.
I ain't even gonna repeat that joke, but never mind.
Hey, unless they're saying that Jacob's wives were dubious, right? And they went out and they cheated on Jacob with a man that had haplogroup R as his Y chromosome, and then another wife cheated on Jacob and got a man that had haplogroup G, got impregnated, and throwing it off on Jacob. Yeah, this your baby. This your baby. That ain't my goddamn. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's what you're saying. But if the 12 tribes of Israel is a true narrative and they existed and they all go back to Jacob, they can only have one haplogroup, and his children can only produce downstream markers of that haplogroup. Jacob cannot have 12 sons and one have E, one have R, one have G, one have A, one have haplogroup N. No, you're teaching the same shit Ron Dalton's teaching. It's pseudoscience. And that's faulty.
Pull up. Let's go find a scientific paper, and I guarantee you, you're gonna see hypothesis, theory, and that's gonna be the terminology. You
and
guys
he never pulls up those
religion,
papers, by the way. That
science
say
become
that.
your religion, and this is not how you're supposed to approach it.
All right, if I may retort to that point there, saying if haplogroup R V88 is definitely Jacob, and you posit that would mean every descendant of haplogroup R would be related to that. Okay, RM269 would also be R1B would also be. These are Western Europeans. What you just effectively did was make all of Western Europe. Hold on. What you just did with that assertion saying that could be a son of Jacob. I'm going off your logic. You just made all Western Europe Israelites, or majority of Western Europe Israelites, because the most common haplogroup amongst them are R1B.
Yeah, Boo, explain him his position. Did you walk? You walked away from the his microphone might be active.
No, I'm sorry. I'm here. I missed it. I'm sorry. What happened?
Well, I'll give him a refresher. So he painted a scenario about. I made mention about the Chattics being victims of the slave trade, which proves that there's a variegation among slaves. Meaning all slaves don't share a common ancestor, right? Therefore, we all can't be Israelites. Then he retorted with, well, how do we know haplogroup R is in Jacob? Well, if we're going to use haplogroup R as Jacob, then you effectively made all of Western Europe, or majority of Western Europe, Israelites. Because
I said one of Jacob's 12 sons.
Well, you made all of Western Europe one of Jacob's 12 sons.
Well, that could be the case, but that's my point. You can't go by one mutation on a single.
Pause that. That could be the case.
That could be the case.
Rewind that.
I told you this dude says dumb, nonsensical stuff all the time.
But we're the ones giving our heritage away. Got it.
Oh, I'm here. I missed it. I'm sorry. What happened?
Well, I'll give him a refresher. So he painted a scenario about. I made mention about the Chattics being victims of the slave trade, which proves that there's a variegation among slaves. I mean, all slaves don't share a common ancestor, right? Therefore, we all can't be Israelites. Then he retorted with, well, how do we know haplogroup R is in Jacob? Well, if we're going to use haplogroup R as Jacob, then you effectively made all of Western Europe, or majority of Western Europe, Israelites. Because
I said one of Jacob's 12 sons.
Well, you made all of Western Europe one of Jacob's 12 sons.
Well, that could be the case, but that's my point. You can't go by one mutation on a single chromosome. You guys have made it a religion, and I'm telling you that if you read the scientific papers, they talk in theory. They say hypothesis, theorize, think, believe. This is the language. This is why I'm trying to show you that you guys are treating this like some God-given science that is without error. And this is
he's saying that we're treating science like no, you're treating yourself and your brother like that. Everything y'all say is 100% right and exact, and then y'all deflect and defer to, oh well, it's the spirit of the Most High is on me. No, everything you've been saying is bullshit, and what the scientists are talking about is derived from actual evidence. The chromosomes in your body, the ancient samples they find, and comparing that.
Chromosomes aren't real, you shoot.
Yeah. Scientists don't go to a dig site and say, oh, did these people experience the curses mentioned in Deuteronomy 28? They don't say shit like that. That's what you guys do.
Your logic offends me, sir.
Not true. Go read the papers. They don't talk like that.
Well, I have a channel where all I do is read scientific papers, scientific literature, and books.
Pull one up.
Let's say this. I don't believe there's a single scientific paper entertaining the idea that there was a man in the Bronze Age whose patrilineal descendants some of them have haplogroup E, some of them haplogroup G, and some of them haplogroup R. I don't believe there's a single scientific paper entertaining that idea.
No, not from the Bible.
Idea that Teotw is proposing.
No, what I am proposing is that that the mutations get reassigned. Are you telling me that this is not how the numbers get assigned? They find a large mutation, like let's say they find a mutation of E, and they find something in that category, and at some point they say, hey, this mutation is so significant
all right,
that we're
Evie.
reclassified as D.
All right, Evie, get pull up your video.
Can I play my meme video real quick?
Yeah.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
Hey, Sure, can you pull up the clip of Teotw and them getting stoned? Can you pull that up?
I got you. I'll pull it up right now.
Right, a high be praised. They're doing the
says,
same thing. They're doing the same thing that their genetic cousins are doing, which is claiming that all these different haplogroups all came back to Jacob. Well, actually, ultra religious Orthodox do that, but yeah, it's the same thing.
The first one or the second one, Avery?
The one that says truth and sources. Well, actually, both of them. Both of them are funny to me.
Hey, Avery, you got the timestamps on the new video?
I may not play that tonight, unless you're cool with it. But I kind of did want to start it fresh from the beginning and address each point.
Okay,
so
we'll do it tomorrow.
That tonight. Yeah,
we'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, so I mean, so everybody just understand this thing, man. We actually took out the time to break down the science. What these guys did was find out that they were European on their paternal side, and that pretty much made them say, hey, I don't want to deal with science anymore. I don't want to deal with none of that. And I'll just look to my autosomal because it says sub-Saharan African. That's pretty much it. That's nothing. That's the rhyme and reason for it. That's nothing else. And since they're not the desired haplogroup they want to be, they're not West and Central African. See, they wanted to be West or Central African. Since they're not that desired haplogroup, now all of this science goes in the trash. All of this has to be false now because you don't meet the standard that you had in your head. But my thing is this. Is it really about being a servant of the Most High? Or is it about you claiming to be Israel no matter what? That's my question. And I think the reason why it's an issue with you guys because you go around saying, oh, Europeans are going to die. They're going to get judged and blah, blah, blah. And y'all don't want to be those same Europeans y'all been casting judgment on.
That's so sad you are.
Right. In search of y'all, I did get them. Haven't had time to sit down and actually analyze them. So this is from, again, all this information is free. You guys can look this stuff up. This is ScienceDirect.com. Haplogroups are empty DNA sequence polymorphism variations that have occurred over 150,000 years and correlate with the geographic origins of populations traced through the maternal lineage. Of course, that's talking about the mtDNA haplogroups, but same thing applies for the Y haplogroups. Global distribution of Y haplogroups. Y DNA haplogroups represent the oldest branch of Y chromosome phylogeny. Like haplogroup B, it only appears in Africa with the highest frequencies among the hunter-gatherer groups. In Ethiopia, Sudan, A3B1 is a Khoisan exclusive haplogroup. So again, when we see these different haplogroups, these are different lineages. We've been over this 1,000 times with you guys to ad nauseum. They don't share the same common male ancestors. Clade C in Central Asia. You guys can read this on your own. Haplogroup D dealing with Japan. Haplogroup I, clear European haplogroup. Shout out to Truth Historian because he's actually haplogroup I, but he doesn't want to own up to it. And look what it says. It is one of the most frequent haplogroups among Northwestern European populations. Those are your relatives, man. Those are your relatives. Embrace it. Then it goes into J, K, L, and it gives you where a lot of these groups are distributed at. So this information is easily accessible. I want to read this one too for the guys that were getting upset about us bringing out information on R1B. It says, finally, the last clade of the Y chromosome tree is the extensive haplogroup R, which is mainly represented by two lineages, R1A, R1B. The members of R1B are believed to be the descendants of the first modern humans who entered Europe, and is now the most common Y haplogroup in Europe. More than half of the men of European descent belong to R1B. Haplogroup R1A is currently found in Central and Western Asia, India, and in the Slavic populations of Eastern Europe. So when you get your DNA test back and it goes back to R1B, most likely you inherited from someone that was of Western European stock, which matches with the history. Western Europeans came to the Americas. They brought slaves with them. They mixed with those slaves. And they also mixed with Native Americans. You have a lot of Native Americans walking around that are actually Western European paternally. All right. All right. Does anybody want to touch on anything before we get out of here? Avery?
Just be ready for tomorrow's show. Gonna address points that they made to us last night, and so we're gonna break down. I'm gonna try to break down each one of their points because I have a list of things I gotta touch on. So come back tomorrow, and we're gonna keep doing videos until they.
I just want to play.
Wake up.
Keep dragging them with these videos because it's hilarious. The meme videos. I'm gonna play the one you just did.
Now look, no one is to stone anyone until I blow this whistle. Do you understand? Even, and I want to make this absolutely clear, even if they do say Jehovah.
I love that.
That's a good one.
Sean?
Yeah, just buckle up and get ready for the Teotw Ministry Marathon. It's on.
Yeah, we're gonna keep our foot firmly pressed against their throats. Rue?
I'm good, man. These dudes are clowns.
My brother Moore.
Rue's like, oh my bad.
Give me 30 seconds.
Oh,
Rue's like I'm not getting paid enough for this.
What's coming?
He looking for a beam.
Oh man, what's coming? Hey man, also man, the message also is like, y'all gotta stop following coats, man. Our people are so gullible. They wanna attach themselves to something so badly and believe in someone so badly, but that's what get us hurt, right? And then the Israelite community was adamant. They were adamant against the Christian community, saying that we were blind, we were following the pastor, and not challenging them, and saying that they were robbing us, and all these negative things about the church. But now when I look at the Israelite community, now it's like, you guys, the same critiques you had against the church, I can use against you. You don't question your leaders. You eat up everything they say, right? You pretty much follow nothing but dogma. You don't try to cement anything with historical or anthropological or archaeological facts. And now DNA. Here's the thing: you get a different haplogroup, that doesn't mean you can't be a practitioner and follow the Most High or follow Yahweh. That doesn't mean that.
The issue is people don't want to be sojourners, which really means they don't really love the Most High. I'm just gonna put it that way.
Yeah, because because your identity is based off racism. You've been telling people this whole time that white people going into slavery and white people evil, white people that, and then you find out, oh damn, I'm related to a white man, or I descended from a white man or a white woman, or what have you. That's why you just gotta accept it and change your goddamn doctrine, man. Stop being hypocrites. All right, more. I see it.
Yeah, this is how the CIA gets down on bad doctrine and bad methodology, fam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we happy. Look, I'm sorry. I didn't get your name. I got yours, Vincent, right? But I never got yours.
My name's Pitt, and your ass ain't talking your way out of this shit.
No. I just want you to know how. I just want you to know how sorry we are that things got so fucked up with us and Mr. Wallace. When we got into this thing with the best intentions, really. I never.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration? I didn't mean to do that. Please, continue. You were saying something about best intentions? What's the matter? Oh, you were finished. Oh, well, allow me to retort. What does Marcellus Wallace look like?
What?
What country you from?
What?
What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what?
What?
English, motherfucker. Do you speak it?
Yes.
Then you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Describe what Marcellus Wallace looks like.
What?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
He's black.
Go on.
He's bald.
Does he look like a bitch?
What?
Does he look like a bitch?
No!
Then why you try to fuck him like a bitch, Brett? Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Brett. You tried to fuck him. And Marcellus Wallace don't like to be fucked by anybody except Mrs. Wallace. You read the Bible, Brett?
Yes.
Well, there's this passage I got memorized. Sort of fits this occasion. Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
That's a classic scene, man. And hey, that's what we doing, man. We're gonna continue to push you dudes shit back. Is this another one, Shari?
One more. I know y'all gonna get tired of me. Just
I'll pass. I have no quarrel with you, good Sir Knight, but I must cross this bridge. Then you shall die. I command you, as King of the Britons, to stand aside. I move for no man. So be it. Now stand aside, worthy adversary. 'Tis but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off. No, it isn't. Well, what's that then?
Hey, that's what happened when they doctrine get destroyed. Oh, nothing happened.
hibachi meals in front of your family.
Victory is mine. We thank thee, Lord, that in thy mercy... Come on, then. What? Have at you! You are indeed brave, Sir Knight, but the fight is mine. Oh, had enough, eh? Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left. Yes, I have. Look! It's just a flesh wound.
That's me right now.
Chicken! Chicken! Look, I'll have your leg. Right! Right, I'll do you for that. You what? Come here. What are you going to do, bleed on me? I'm invincible! You're a loony. The Black Knight always triumphs! How about you? Come on, then. All right, we'll call it a draw. Come, Patsy. Oh, I see. Running away, eh? You yellow bastard! Come back here and take what's coming to you! I'll bite your legs off!
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. A perfect representation of what's to come for Teotw Ministries and what's technically already happening as they slowly move off of YouTube.
We did this a year ago. We took the autosomal argument from you. You understand? We took your phenotypic argument from you, your skin doctrine from you. You don't have any limbs anymore. You have nothing to fight with.
Yeah, no, he kind of just came back like Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. We got to put him back in the dirt, so you know.
Right. Y'all dead. We fight dead people already, man. You understand? So yeah, we'll be back. Stay tuned tomorrow. And we'll be delivering an ass whooping tomorrow about that live stream. Sister E came in. She was in her feelings. She was in her emotions because she can't sit back and watch her favorite priest get their ass whooped.
Yeshua, stream is unavailable. People are saying that stream suspended for policy violations.
Ah, that's my fault.
Oh yeah. You showed that clip.
Oh, it's the was it the cussing or just the shooting?
No, he showed
movie clip.
Yeah, he showed a
movie
clip.
Oh,
yeah.
But we show movie clips too, or was it because we edited it and it was different?
It's saying it's still live though, or did it stream on YouTube versus?
It'll come back in and like give it 5 minutes.
Hey, you shoot, just add that to the video. You can do it on YouTube.
Wait, what? Y'all hear that?
Wait, what was that?
Yo.
Yeah, it got flagged. Yeah, those clips.
That was the real CIA right there. You know what I'm saying?